good enough. All right. So what's up, everybody? This is Francisco here for Sports Goose number 167. There we go. 167. I'm joined by my good buddy Charles. Andrew is not here yet because he's grabbing a bite to eat, so he'll pop back in at some point. Panthers are playing the Buffalo Sabres right now. That's the game that's going on in the background. I'll be keeping an eye on that. And they just waved off that goal because the guy was offsides by like a mile and nobody saw it. So that's good. Crisis averted for now. Panthers need to win this game. If they win, they'll be back in the second wild card spot with, I think, 4 games left to go. And the Buffalo Sabres, who are behind the Panthers, will it'll be like it'd be a miracle if they take that spot from Florida, but it's fine. It's fine. The Panthers, hopefully they can get hot at the right time. They can get inspired, maybe gain some momentum there. And so there we are. Hockey, NBA races going down to the wire for the playoffs. That's fun. We've also, let's say, baseball started. You know, I'm already depressed, so that's, baseball's back. It's spring, right?
Yes.
It's spring. I got to learn to lower my mic because last time, the last episode, I didn't lower my mic, and Charles and Andrew sounded like regular normal people, and I had the voice of Zeus. So now
This is your show. So maybe you should always have a higher bass and more noticeable. You're like God in the Futurama episode, where Bender goes up there to just meet him. His voice was just slightly higher.
Nah, it was just RIP headphone users, whoever listened to that. I tried to edit it and pare it down, and normalize my voice at the very least, and there was only so much I could do. But it's fine. It's fine. We're back. We're on the show. I've lowered it now because I'm checking my mic levels now. I have this new microphone arm, Charles. I actually have a good setup here now. I look like I'm a professional in some sort of way with this. So I'm still figuring out the distance this thing should be from my mouth. I've got the pop filter on. I've got the wind guard on. I've got a bunch of stuff on this thing. So. It's fun. It's a fun little thing. And let's see. So baseball. Yeah. Oh, of course. And today we have. I've labeled this episode Charles's big beefy WrestleMania review.
Big beefy WrestleMania review. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah. Charles.
It's so much, man. This is, if you like my voice, you will like this episode. If you despise me as a character or a persona in this show, you do not want to download it. I got 40 minutes is the way I tell people when I was thinking about it. This is one of those few things where I actually went tit for tat of how I want to strategize speaking on this. So much stuff, man. So much stuff.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the people who listen. I'm like, oh, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah, you should have seen the group chat on Sunday.
My God. And that's why it's not just a me issue, but we're going to have Andrew, who is not versed in wrestling, give us the ultimate, it's still real to me, damn it, answer that I don't give. And I find that humorous for me, coming from it. And I love it because he's like this every WrestleMania. I've noticed that for the last
he's watched. He's watched. You shared your account so he could see it at the very least, and he's he pays attention to it.
Yeah. And then you just live off of my reactions, which are great, and then and I'm just giving him a shout out now. Public Enemies and Humble Wrestling, Twitter account, because those are usually who I'm just responding to you guys, or I'm just literally sending to you guys, going from there. So it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a long segment. I'm not even going to front, but it's okay because this is a sports show, everybody, and not a lot of sports is sported. We had and I guess you and I should just take this now to talk about this thing.
Well, but before, go ahead, finish your thought there.
Oh, I was going to speak on March Madness. Very well. Okay. How it's useless, irrelevant, and it's a waste of our time because every time the last couple of years we've had these amazing, and I'm not even, and I'll tell the March Madness story. So Andrew's in it, but there's a prelims. We're creaking this. I'm giving you a conclusion. At some point, I'll explain to you the rule, the explanation, and then the analysis. Is that every time you have this great tournament, and for like the last couple of years, the payoff has not been there whatsoever because it's always a blowout.
Yeah.
In the women's or the men's. But what would you like to start our show on, or your show on?
Well, I'd like to start with, we were going to talk about gaming to start as well. Because I didn't watch the national championship at all.
I didn't either. I forgot it happened.
Yeah, I was watching the Marlins get blown out 11-1. That's what I was watching. I was at work late. I watched the Marlins do that while I was working. Then I came back here. I put on MLB The Show, and I put on a stream on my Marlins Historian account, so people could listen to that stream of consciousness where I was just kind of rambling on about the Marlins and why I think the lime green walls were a bad aesthetic choice compared to teal walls. But that I did not pay attention whatsoever. I looked on Twitter. I saw that UConn blew out San Diego State. I'm like, okay, that's what I expected. So that's that. I'm glad I didn't waste my time with that. It was basically like the basketball version of the football national championship as well. Whereas like there's no chance whatsoever. So I'm glad I didn't waste my time with that. But yeah, we got that. We could talk about gaming and
how there's a way to there's a way to describe the way that you. Hi there.
Yo.
I know that you didn't watch a single second of that game because you were saying it was a blowout.
Well, I wasn't gonna watch that game at all, to be honest. I was not enthused whatsoever. Neither FAU or Miami was in it, so why should I care? I wasn't following it anymore. I was like, okay, well, I got my fill for college basketball. That was it. So it didn't matter. I haven't really watched any national championships in a while. The one, what was it? Villanova won like a buzzer beater or whatever. I saw that one, but aside from that, nothing else. It was like UConn, and UConn had thoroughly blown out Miami. I'm like, oof, no, I know how this is going to end. So I'm not,
Well, I get that, but to say that it was a blowout is a bit dismissive of San Diego State because they brought it with it. They were down quite a bit, but then they brought it within 6 points. They had momentum on their side, and they just lost it.
When did they lose the momentum?
What's that?
When did they lose the momentum before they lost at the buzzer beater? Because it was like 76 something. So when were they within 6, Andrew? And then getting blown up by 17.
If it was like the first half of the first half of the first half, then that.
Right. I'll answer my question with it.
It was, I'd say it's about midway through the second half. It was pretty close toward the end. It looked like they had a shot.
All right. Yeah. Well, either way, it wasn't enough for it to be registering on Twitter. At least on my Twitter.
Like when I think of a blowout, I think of something that's not in doubt from beginning to end.
Well, basketball is a game of runs.
Exactly. And in this case, the run that they went on was pretty good. It almost got them back into it. It did get them back into it. They were 6 points down, and then that run ended, and that was it.
All right. I am bringing up the score because you came in when I was criticizing it, even though neither of us watched it because I forgot it was on.
But you know what else can go on a run sometimes is Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends, yes.
Yeah. So guys, it's Raid Shadow Legends' 4th anniversary. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know
God, it's been 4 years?
It's been only 4 years. I thought the game had lasted longer than that, but it's only been 4 years. Raid Shadow Legends, they have a special promo for their 4-year anniversary, and guess what? The sports goofs are part of this too now. I downloaded Raid Shadow Legends the other day, and I gave it a shot. And you know what, guys? You can have a little fun. You can grab they got more than 600 different champions. Did you guys know that too? They have in-game rewards. You log in every day. They give you a little something as well. And, with our promo code, MARSEESP, I think I got that right. It's on the screen there if you want. You can look down. If you're watching on Twitch, on our About section, there's a panel there for Raid Shadow Legends as well. For brand new users, you sign up, you can get some nice bonuses to start out the game with. Okay? So you can download that right now. Or, it's not just on your mobile phones. You can also play it on your PC and your Mac. Try out these special promo codes, all right? You can also try Firestarter. So if you're brand new to the game, use that one. You'll get some nice, cool stuff. Or if you've been a raider, you've been a Shadow Legend for quite a while, you can also try this one. 4 years raid. All users, that's available to you as well. You raid Shadow Legends, maybe 600 different champions. Maybe one can speak to Charles, like that one character in the anime video game you just played.
Tenjin Uzi, and it's not a video game character. That's in the Demon Slayer.
Oh, okay. So there you go. In Demon Slayer. Oh no, but the other one from like Namco or whatever that you were playing.
Tails? Yeah. Sorry. It was damn it. What was his name?
Tales of Rise?
No, it was Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus. There you go.
And it was this little short kid who was like, just work out because I have to be strong. And I'm like, all right. Man.
Yeah.
I don't need you to come at me like that. I was kind of hurt, but I was also in love.
That's right. And
play that raid game. You're going to find characters that you can connect to. You want to see it through the end.
Yeah. So, try it out, folks. It's a quick download. It's free to play. Go ahead. So Raid Shadow Legends, everybody. All right, that's enough of that. I've always wanted to do one of these, like Raid Shadow, because you see every other YouTuber and things like that making an ad of some sort for this. And I just, when I saw it, I'm just like, oh, we have to get in on this. I want to do this. So I feel like we've made it in some sort of way, shape, or form by promoting Raid Shadow Legends.
Or Richard Nixon would promote Raid Shadow Legends.
Yeah. So, that's fine. That's so, and if you start the game and you all reach level 25, you'll get even better rewards. There's like a little time ticker there if you guys want. Anybody who's listening to this, and you get more special stuff. So you reach that, and you reach the goal, and boom, So they got dragons, they got mages, they got orcs, they got a bunch of stuff. So there you go. All right, what were we talking about? I have no idea.
March Madness. To summarize it,
yeah,
I think it's
we're
a short
15 minutes now.
Position, both the men and the women's. It just seems that we have these great games that are coming in, and then you just end up getting, no payoff. I was literally Saturday night. I'm at a charity ball event, stationed with other attorneys. They're not my attorneys that I work with, and I'm getting us all heat up on the FAU thing. Getting us all heat. Well, Miami got blown up, but it's okay because I was already done with the day as it was. But then, I couldn't carry that energy on a Monday. Not even carrying it. And the women's match was a blow. And I know Andrew's saying it's not a blowout, but still, when you're playing that far behind to get there and you don't win, it don't matter, right? It just happens. It seems to happen a lot with college ball lately, and college football as well. So you know what? You're not going to be marketable to me if you just can't make your big game interesting. I'm sorry.
They probably should have just played that on the Sunday.
Right?
People would have ridden the high of that,
Yeah. Why couldn't I also get the 2 back-to-back Sunday games? Why did it have to be women's on Sunday and men's on Monday? Let me get both. If you want to bring in viewers, because sometimes, if it's on, I just seen this, let me get this. Right?
They're always in 2 separate cities. They could always just do both at the same time.
Together.
Yeah, the women play first and then the men at the end.
And the problem is, aside from UConn, because it's UConn, the women's game was more interesting just for the after effects. So now, let me dive.
Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah,
just about the whole freaking controversy of whatever. It's like this is what sport's been missing a long time, guys. Rivalries, beef, like trash talking. That's the fun stuff. Everybody's so
even know
friendly a lot of these times. It's like,
we
no, I
don't
want
even
some
know
guys
if
who
it's like
genuinely hate each
full-out
other.
rivalry, but it's being in the moment because this is their moment. This is their platform.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I hate to say it, but Kim Merkley or Murky, she's just too animated for me. As a coach, but when you got the players, that's who should be a little bit of that heat. The woman's running in the corner, I'm like, isn't that a technical foul? I think it is, kind of thing. Right? What's that? But when it comes to Caitlin Clark and then the LSU player whose name escapes me right now, Reese, Alice Reese. Why do y'all hate her? Because she did the John Cena, you can't see me. Like, why? Like that you want that kind of beef because you get invested for the players. You shouldn't be invested on anything else. So if this is, here's the thing with the women's sports, it was more entertaining to me of this rivalry. Caitlin Clark was doing excellent, and then Reese, then what you were coming at. Nobody knew what was going on in UConn.
Guys, Avisail Garcia just hit a home run. He's been trashed for the Marlins since they signed him a season ago, and he actually hit a home run. Right, this is the man that came into last season overweight. He ate way too many arepas, and then over the offseason, he lost a lot of weight. But he sucked in spring, and he sucked the first 5 games of the season thus far. But he finally hit a home run. And I've said as a Venezuelan that you have to keep your arepa ratio balanced. It's like a pH, right? So he was eating too many last year. I think he ate too few arepas over the off season. So I think he had a couple. He had a couple today, and I think that he's finally getting that ratio back to balance right there. So he's getting that arepa balance back together. So good on you, Avisail Garcia. Right? Maybe you could salvage that contract.
It reminds me of the Lendell White.
What is the correct ratio? It's X arepas to what?
It goes person by person. Right? It goes person by person. That's all I can tell you. You will never know you will never understand, Andrew. It's a Venezuelan thing. And Colombians have their own version of it, but it's different.
I could probably attest to this. Yes.
Do you know what yours is?
I don't know. Let's see. I could eat a ton of arepas, but it will throw me off of pretty much all of my game for work, for gaming, for this show. So I can't have too many either. I haven't had arepas in maybe. When's the last time I had arepas? Probably 3 weeks ago. So hey, it's once again, it's a balancing thing. I could have them every day if I wanted to, but I can't. So it's just a personal thing you got to keep. It has nothing to do with body fat percentage or anything like that. It's just you just feel it.
I think if you do an arepa before the baseball game and an arepa by the 7-inning stretch, if you're down by 2, that's the balance. That's how you can hit those home runs.
Maybe as long as you didn't have any but for lunch earlier that day.
Yeah.
Where were we?
All right,
Charles. All right, Charles talking about the John Cena. We can't see that.
Why can't we have it? Because it's not like you're going to fight on there, but I feel like there's been a lot of scrutiny because somehow we have taken competitiveness to be tribalism of class, race, and everything else. Why I just say why are we so because it's always young players in any sport, college or the pros, that we had to say you need to do X, Y, Z, and this is disgusting. No, it's not. If you watch old school ish, we were all loving the fact that we were regular. The worst thing that she did, legitimately speaking, was doing the "You Can't See Me" because Caitlin Clark was doing the "You Can't See Me" John Cena style. And this is what we're gonna fight on and tell somebody they shouldn't be on there, and then we're gonna hate because she's clapping back. Let them clap back.
Exactly.
Y'all the ones that are gonna talk about her every day. She doesn't know your
Everybody
name.
talking about the NBA. Oh, it was much better in the 90s when they were all fighting each other. Okay, here it is.
Yeah, but specifically back to her and Caitlin Clark, my biggest gripe with the Twitter people, and that's the only form of social media I use, so this is the only people I can attack on. Stop dealing with the concept that 1, you own the sport that they're playing. 2, you own the people and how they react. Right? Seriously. Ease up. Let them act up because this is not the worst thing that they're doing. Okay? If in a championship game they're getting competitive, do y'all play video games and go, damn it, when you can't get your kill in Call of Duty or Fortnite, whatever the hell the cool kids play? Exactly. You're emotional. You're human. Not everybody can be a robot, and it's not going to lead to the palace and the malice. I think you just hate people successful than you. I think you hate the people who are younger than you succeeding. I think the fact, and can I say this, Andrew? I hate the fact that you think that, women basketball players are getting more prolific exposure than you are, or your favorite male players. And I think, you're just being a pain in the asses. And it's just known, and it's tracked, it's aware. Fight me on it.
All right. So that's it for college basketball. It's over. It's done with. I don't know when the season starts again. Nobody knows. It just happens. College basketball just happens. But it just kind of sort of happens. Nobody cares when it starts. It just
more like mid to late November.
Exactly. Nobody knows for sure. It just happens.
It's like the winter solstice. It's somewhere coming in winter, but you just don't know what fall.
Exactly.
There you go. College basketball. The winter solstice of sports.
All right. Okay, so...
But also, wait, one more thing on March Madness. To finish in April. What it should really be, finish it in March. Let's make it fit. Let's make it fit for the alliteration, kids. That annoyed me. We're calling March Madness, and then what? Disappointing April. What's an insult? We go March Madness.
Has to be alliteration.
Abrupt April
or something.
Abrupt April. Abhorrent April.
Yeah. Okay.
Disgusting.
Let's see.
Ambivalent April.
Which one?
Ambivalent April.
Yeah, I guess.
We were ambivalent to it. There we go. Yeah, okay. We got you. Well, we have
apathetic
the madness.
April.
Well, we had the madness, now we have the meh. The apathetic April.
More madness. Okay. Let's see. We're at 23 minutes. And, I mean, when are you ready to do the big, beefy WrestleMania review, Charles? You want to save it for the second half?
Yeah, let's start the second half with it.
All right. I mean, and our shows have kind of been running shorter, and I'm kind of liking it that way.
It's kind of beefy.
Okay, so our shows have kind of been running a little bit shorter, so we're going to run through some things. I do, now that Andrew's here, we can talk about the NHL, because we got some races going on right now, some playoff races, and it's going to be good. It's going to be fun. So I got the Panthers game on. Panthers facing the Sabres. They're losing 1-0 anyways. So that's Panthers got to wake up. Oh man, we are here, folks. This is the final week of the season. We're counting the games in hand. I didn't think we'd be like this again, but we're the Florida Panthers, and that's what happens. But a lot of interesting things are going down to the wire here in the NHL, and I looked at it the other day because, of course, I'm following the Panthers race for the playoffs, but also we got to look at everybody else too. So you ready, Andrew? You ready for this?
Let's do this.
All right, y'all ready for this? Okay, so let's start with the. We'll go to the Western Conference because it doesn't really affect either of our teams, but we could just take a look. So the Central Division is hotly contested still. The Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild have already clinched their playoff spots. The Avs are going to clinch theirs very much soon enough, so they'll be able to defend their Stanley Cup championship. They are both tied at 98 points, Minnesota and Dallas. Colorado's 2 points back with 2 games in hand, so they could still win that division. And Dallas and Minnesota have 5 games left. Colorado has 7 games left. So it's going to be real fun to see that race at the end. The Pacific Division is also hotly contested because the Vegas Golden Knights have 103 points. They're 3 points up on the LA Kings and 4 points up on the Edmonton Oilers. And all 3 of those teams have 5 games left to go. So realistically, yes, even Edmonton could get on a run, and if Vegas falters, they can take that division. Then finally, the wild card race, or wild card races for the Western Conference. The Seattle Kraken, they've got 6 games left. They hold the first wild card spot. They've got 92 points to 3 up on the team behind them, the Winnipeg Jets. So Seattle, is looking good. They just got to coast a little bit, not screw anything up, and they can make the playoffs for the first time in their franchise history and make some noise. They will most likely, given the way things are going out in the West, maybe Vegas will have the number 1 spot. So they most likely will face whoever is going to win the Central Division. And then the Winnipeg Jets hold the second wild card spot. They have 89 points. They're 2 up on the Calgary Flames and 5 up on the Nashville Predators. The Jets and the Flames have 5 games left to go, and the Predators have 6 games left to go. I'm very surprised that the Predators are still in this race because they were sold at the trade deadline. So that's good news for them in a sense because they're essentially in a, I guess, rebuilding on the fly, and somehow, some way they're finding a way to compete. So I would like, because, screw Canadian teams, I would love to see the Nashville Predators go on a run and take that final spot, but Winnipeg's 5 points up, and it'll take a lot for Nashville to jump over both of those teams. But once again, good playoff races at the end here in the Western Conference, and this is fun. This is fun as a hockey fan for sure. And then we move on to the Eastern Conference. So the Metro Division, the Hurricanes have 107 points. The 3 up on the New Jersey Devils, and they are 6 up on the New York Rangers. The Devils and the Rangers could still win the division if they go on a run and Carolina falters, but the Canes have 6 games left. The Devils and the Rags only have 5 games left, so that's what we have there. The Atlantic Division, the Bruins clinched everything a long time ago. They have 125 points, and they're the number 1 seed throughout the entire playoffs if they make it to the Stanley Cup Finals. So that leaves the rest of the Atlantic Division, and we've had this matchup for a long time too. We know it's going to be Toronto versus Tampa Bay. The Leafs have 4 points up on the Bolts. The Leafs have 6 games left to go. The Lightning have 5 games left to go. The Bolts can realistically jump over Toronto if Toronto falters at the end. But if things hold, game 1 and 2 will be in Toronto between the Leafs and the Lightning. Then the wild card is the New York Islanders with the first wild card spot. They have 87 points. The Pittsburgh Penguins at 86 points. So those are the 2 wild card spots. And then the Florida Panthers at 85 points. And the Buffalo Sabres, who are 5 points behind the Pittsburgh Penguins, have 81 points. And Ottawa's kind of sort of there, but it would take a miracle for them to do anything like that and hop, skip, and over to get Pittsburgh's spot. But the Sabres have 7 games left to go, while the Panthers and the Penguins only have 5 games left to go, and the Islanders only have 4 games left to go. So that is the closest race for the wild card right there. That's going to be down to the wire. The Panthers have won 3 games in a row, and they cannot lose. They could, maybe afford 1 more loss in the last 5 games that they've got here, but they cannot lose. They especially can't lose tonight against Buffalo. They could put Buffalo out of their misery, kind of, sort of, but make it much harder for them by winning tonight. So those are the playoff races right now. Other storylines in the NHL, it's not really much. You got Washington, and they're feeding Ovechkin pucks like crazy to try and get him inched closer and closer to Gretzky's record. They've got 5 games left to see how many goals Ovi can get to get closer and closer. And then the tank race right now. So we've got the Columbus Blue Jackets have 56 points. As the worst team in the Eastern Conference, and the Chicago Blackhawks have 54 points as the worst team in the West, and the Anaheim Ducks also have 56 points. The San Jose Sharks have 59, but I don't think they're going to suck hard enough in order to finish out and win the tank race right now. So it's really between Anaheim, Chicago, and Columbus to see who gets more of the ping pong balls at the draft lottery. And that's it. That's the hockey things going on right now. Anything stand out to you, Andrew?
Not really. I mean, you know,
What are the Lightning's
it'll be
final
interesting.
5 games? Who are they facing? You guys face the Leafs head to head?
I don't know. I'll have to check.
Let me see. Let's take a look
I
at
don't.
this. Because I've
I don't
been
know our schedule off the top of my head.
tracking the Panthers, but I would like to see what the Leafs are doing. Just because this is interesting. This is the fun stuff, especially if you guys have a warm up round against the Leafs to finish out the season. Let's see. So we're going to the Lightning
We've got
schedule.
the Rangers.
Ooh,
We've
okay,
got the Rangers tomorrow.
okay.
Then the Sens, then the Wings.
Actually, so you guys have a back to back. Actually, the Rangers, then the Islanders.
Sorry, hold on. Sorry, we have Rangers, Islanders, Senators, the Leafs, and then the Red Wings.
Okay, so we need you guys to beat the Islanders. You guys can lose to the Rags all you want, but we need you to beat the Islanders. You do face the Leafs for a warm up, the second to last game, and then
Right.
so those are really the only significant-ish games there. And I mean, if you guys run the table by beating both New York teams and Ottawa, maybe that game against the Leafs, depending on what they do, could be for seeding. To see who hosts the first 2 games in the first round. All right.
I mean, it would be nice. It would be nice if we could get it. I mean, it's not necessarily the end of the world if we don't. We didn't have the seating advantage last year, and we still won.
Yeah.
You know, I would say, from my point of view, I'm a lot happier seeing how the team is playing now. There was a period of time, like the last month and a half, where the team just really fell off hard. And I'm not just talking about, you know, teams lose. You know, I don't care how
You guys
good
were
the team
just
is, they're
sloppy
going to
like
lose.
crazy.
We just were playing like crap. The defense was faltering. It was making a lot of people second guess our GM Julien Brisebois for not picking up a defenseman at the trade deadline. He just got a couple of grinding forwards. You know, our defensive core is looking a little bit weak, and that particular stretch was looking really weak. So everyone was thinking, you know, maybe Brisebois finally made a bad move at the trade deadline. But, I mean, we'll see. But for now, at least, the team seems to be coming around a bit. The last few games in particular, you know, they beat the Islanders 5-0. Then before that, they beat the Capitals 5-1. This one was particularly impressive. They beat the Hurricanes 4-0 away.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time that the Lightning played them was also in Raleigh, and they lost 6-0. And then before that, it was a loss, but it was a close loss to the Bruins, 2-1 in Boston. But if you look at the stretch before then, you've got a 7-2 loss to the Senators, a 3-2 loss to the Canadiens, a 5-2 loss to the Devils.
Losing the Habs is always bad.
There was just a stretch of like off and on stretch of a few weeks to a month or so, where we were just playing terribly, and everyone was starting to turn on the team. And I think there's a difference between turning on the team and just being frustrated with how they're playing. I think
sounded pretty
true
frustrated
fans
last time.
What's that?
You sounded pretty frustrated last time you spoke on them.
I was extremely frustrated. I
turning.
I wasn't writing off the team by any stretch of the imagination, no. But I mean, this is a team that's made it to the finals in the past 3 seasons, won 2 of them. You can't really count them out. But it's just they look so. I couldn't tell. Was it just they were
Lackadaisical.
it's like are they too injured, or is the being in 3 finals finally starting to catch up to them? As I couldn't understand it. They just were kind of coasting along. But I don't know, something flipped, and they seem to be getting back on the right track at the right time. Particularly speaking for Andrei Vasilevsky, who won the NHL #1 star of the week. He gave up 1 goal in the past 3 games. And 3 goals over the past 4 games, and those were against Boston, Carolina, Washington, and the Islanders. So he's turning it on at the right time. Knock on wood, he won't be the problem going into the playoffs. You just have to hope that the rest of the team is starting to round the corner at the same time as him, and that we'll be going into this on a good streak.
Alrighty.
Florida would be slated to face who?
Well, that's kind of what I've been looking at as far as the scenarios are concerned. So, I want the Panthers to get the first wild card spot to avoid Boston.
Right.
Because if they'd face the Metro winner, which right now is looking like Carolina. Not that that's any easier for the Panthers, but it's not the juggernaut that the Bruins are right now. And the Panthers have been able to beat the Hurricanes at least. Let's see, they've played. I'm going to look at the record against the Canes just to start out, but they won their first meeting 3-0, and then they got shut out their second meeting in Raleigh 4-0, and they are slated to face off against each other one more time to finish out the season. So they're 1-1. Both have been shutouts on either end for both teams. So if things work out the way that I hope they do for the Panthers, that game, the final game that they're playing Carolina in Sunrise, could be a warm-up for the first round. So that'll be interesting, to say the least. So that's what. If not, they're facing Boston, and I have no hope for the Panthers to take down the Bruins. It's too much of a juggernaut right now. So I'm hoping with the Canes, because the Panthers have shown that they can at least hang. They can at least hang with the Canes. But of course, the Panthers' first win was in November against Carolina, and the season has gone on. They got shut out back in February, and so I'm not sure. But the Panthers, they go into the playoffs hot, then okay, it might be a different story. I can at least make it a series. But that's where we're at with that. Alrighty. So, I mean, aside from that, other storylines in hockey, I'm trying to think of sports season, kind of like, I think Charles is rubbing off on me in all kinds of ways.
As long as it's not rubbing on you.
So I'm trying to look at, especially this, another way of looking at sports seasons as different storylines, always different storylines for individual teams, players, what have you. Always, just to make things more interesting. Some people, gamble and lose all kinds of money just to make things interesting for themselves. And I'm just going to focus on the storylines and try and, gain some sort of happiness from that. I listened to I don't know if I shared it with you guys, but it's JJ Redick's podcast, The Old Man and the Three. And he had interviewed Dame Lillard. And it's very insightful as to why Lillard is still in Portland and how he views success and how he views like the story of a season. And sometimes that's the journey is more important than the result. Everybody's so results based on the championships and stuff, especially in the NBA. He hates it. And Everybody questioning him. Well, why don't you leave someplace? And I'll send it to you guys. It's much better. And hearing from Dame is always nice. So
I would like him to leave for only one place.
we all do, but he's
One place.
happy in Portland. So
Yeah.
that's the thing. So, but other storylines. So Connor McJesus holding all of the significant offensive numbers in the NHL right now. Leader in assists, leader in goals. He hit 60. He's got 62 right now. So 62 goals right now. So he is he's the MVP. He's the MVP of the season. He has to be. There's nobody else. He is. The Oilers actually have a good shot of doing something this season in the playoffs as well. They'll probably either face Vegas or the LA Kings in the first round. That's going to be really fun. And yeah, him and Leon Draisaitl with all the fun with that. And then as far as goaltenders are concerned, Olmark out in Boston, once again, juggernaut, 1.90 goals against average, and he also leads the league in save percentage and looking like the overall Vezina trophy winner at this point. So there you go with that. And yeah, so that's with that. And yeah, of course, Ovechkin inching closer. He's not going to reach that this season, but maybe next season or the season after that. Just depends. I forgot how many he's behind Gretzky at this point, but it'll probably not next season either, unless he goes really off. But I think season after that, which I think he'll be like age 39 or something like that by that point, or 38. So, all right, we're at 43 minutes. And we're still not ready for Charles's big beefy wrestling review, not the WrestleMania review, not yet. But I guess we can look at the NBA. I kind of sort of started looking at it. The Sacramento Kings made the playoffs. I didn't know that was a thing happening.
It feels so wrong, doesn't it?
I mean, they're the third seed in the West. How did this happen?
Mike Brown.
Well, okay, Mike Brown.
Fixed the Lakers
lovable
when he got
Mike Brown.
hired.
Yeah.
But he couldn't do anything with the Lakers when he was hired. I think he got fired for Mike D'Antoni.
Yeah.
And then it was such a random hire to begin with.
He went to Golden State to be an assistant there, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Mike Brown's an established coach, and we're like, he was the problem that we talked about, recycled and recidivism in your NBA coaching, because I was okay with Mike Brown. I remember the whole thing about the Lakers, like, he's going to run the Princeton offense. Like, what? And then he was just gone, and he just comes back with a whole ragtag of guys, including Sabonis, and their starting point guard, Darren Fox, and a few other dudes, and now they're like, you're a third seed. What? And you're like a competent-looking third seed. What? It just, all this feels weird. It's not even the fact that they have the right coach. Technically, they had the right coach in Mike Malone many years ago. They just didn't want to deal with Mike Malone anymore. They fired him. That's why he's doing okay in Denver. But it's like, you actually might be competitive, because the West, I can't predict the West. Denver has always kind of, and if I could say this accurately, blown its load in the playoffs. They've had some of the injuries. Sometimes they got some
regular season, really.
This is not their golden. This is not Golden State's year. Let me get the standing so I can kind of be.
I posted up just now. It's on the screen here, and let me get these ads off of here. Thank you, NBA. So right now, let's start with the West, and then we can talk about the East. So number one, the Denver Nuggets as of now. They're three games up on the Memphis Grizzlies. They're at number 2. The Sacramento Kings in 3rd seed right now. The Phoenix Suns at the 4th seed. And then the LA Clippers.
Oh, snap.
Then the Golden State Warriors at 6.
But look at that differential wins and losses, man.
Yeah, it's not as big of a disparity between the 6th and the 1st seed. So it's not as wide of a gap. I mean, Denver's they're the only team that right now with 50 wins in the West.
Phoenix could still be, even though they're 4th seed, still be that team because a certain man.
Yeah,
just has to
once they get into the playoffs, that things everybody will turn up for that. But I mean, we're down to the wire too with the NBA. We're the last 4 or 5 games of the season for everybody at this point. So Those are the teams out there for seeding, as far as we're concerned. So there's still some jostling that can happen between now and next week. So that'll be fun. And then we got the play-in round. So as of now, number 7 is the LA Lakers, and then the New Orleans Pelicans at 8, the Minnesota Timberwolves at 9, and the Oklahoma City Thunder at 10. And I think, realistically, and the Dallas Mavericks and the Utah Jazz are on the fringe there for that final 10th spot for the play-in round. Eastern Conference, Milwaukee's number 1, Boston at number 2, then Philly at number 3, Cleveland at 4, New York at 5, Brooklyn at 6 because the Heat can't seem to put it together consistently enough. Heat are at 7, Hawks at 8, Raptors at 9, and the Bulls at 10. And really, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think the Wizards are going to run the table, and I think they've been eliminated, actually. Hold on, let me see. I see an O there. I think, they're eliminated. So the Wizards are not going to make it, and the Magic are the last Eastern team that will probably be eliminated soon enough as well. But the Magic have had a bounce back year. They're only 10 games under, so that's not bad for them. They if they run the table, they could finish with 38 wins. So I don't know. That might be like their best record in like 5, 6, 7 years. I'm not even sure.
For whom I just got kicked. So
the future is bright.
The Orlando Magic. I was talking about the Magic just to throw Andrew a bone there. They got 34 wins right now.
Let us explain to you about the East. All right, Andrew, and why you should be optimistic here. They haven't been eliminated, and
but they're about to be.
Yeah, they are. But
they're like 4 games back.
The East is never consistent because Cavaliers were ass. They get Donovan Mitchell, who I still feel we should have gotten, and look where they're at. The Knicks are, inconsistent, but they get Tom Thibodeau. But here's the truth. By year 3 or 4, Tom Thibodeau's team just dies because their knees just break apart.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Boston Celtics might get rid of Jaylen Brown. The 76ers are always going to consistently be there because of Mr. Consistency in the regular season. And Atlanta just doesn't know if it's coming or going half the time. You guys got chances for years to carry. You're good. Maybe. I don't know any players on your team except for the Wagner bros. And then, maybe Jabari Smith. There's like so many J Smiths out there.
What are you talking about?
I can't follow for the Magic.
Oh, okay.
Paolo Bancho.
Yeah, not Patrick Mahomes.
No. The Brazilian Patrick Mahomes. Even though it's not Brazilian.
There you go.
But I think they have another guy from.
He's Italian, right? He's an Italian.
I have no idea.
Paolo Banchero.
When I look at basketball and these guys drafted the first round, my whole thing was like, I didn't get a driver's license until you were born, because I got my driver's license at 18. That's what always comes to me. That's what reminds me I'm old, and life is a conduit. But hey, go Heat, right?
He's just he's from Seattle.
What
do I think he was from somewhere else? Not even sure.
I don't know, man. I don't know, but
he's eligible for. He is Italian by some sort of heritage of some sort, but he was born in the USA.
Well, there you go.
Banchero, there you go. That's why. Okay. Aside from that, I don't know any other story. I really haven't been attention to the NBA. All I know is every time I look on Twitter, the Heat are not winning, and Jimmy's doing all he can.
They're beating Detroit right now, but let's see. Look, the storyline for the Miami Heat is going to be how much we hate Mickey Arians by the end of the season. That's really what it is. When the season's over and we lose in the play-in, and we're like, we really couldn't give away some of these assets. At least try to play Duncan Robinson. You don't even want to play Duncan Robinson. We're paying him all that cash. I know what he can do. I don't think he's got a case of the yips. We're just so stubborn in the status quo. I understand, and I get it. And the thing is that, and we appreciate Spo. I'm not about to fling anything against Spo, but every now and then, you need a little bit of a wake up call. because I am not advocating for Spo's. Like, this is not the Mike Vrabel show and Boone. Like, I think Spo's the only one who's ever been safe on my end. But
Oh no, I'm not. I'm not saying that. On my end. I would never call for Spo's head at any point.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that Spo likes his rotations, likes doing this thing, and is pretty stubborn.
But hear me out. Stubbornness, and this is where I'm going to sound like a dick, because I'm like, dude, how are you going to be like? I know we're high paying Duncan Robinson to do nothing, and we can't. For some reason, we just can't find a team to trade him for to get the cap relief. But yet, you're also going to put in a high priced guy who just isn't worth it in Kyle Lowry. So this is what frustrates me, in that sense. And that's also on who? Mickey Aarons. I hate you. Why the hell did you be like, oh yeah,
Mickey Arison? The owner?
Mickey Arison. Yeah, the GM and everything on the construct.
Oh well, I mean, that's Pat and Andy Ellisberg.
Mickey, or Andy Ellisberg, but also
no.
it does.
Nick is his son. His son is also part of that.
But there's a rumor mills that Mick doesn't want to spend the cash.
Mickey Arison. If it looks like the Heat are kind of like fringe teams, he won't spend to into the luxury tax or anything like that.
But the thing is, we were already debatably fringe, and then we got Kyle Lowry. I understand that we went to the finals, and we got Kyle, but like the same cast.
Maybe he's frustrated. He's like, man, we screwed up on this, and I ain't paying to buy this man out or anything like that.
Because I know Pat can't chase the whale anymore. Plain and simple. What Pat can do is get a guy who wants to be the whale and maximize him. See Jimmy. They've done well of identifying talent when they actually do draft people. See Bam. But they can't. They're always missing that point guard for whatever reason. And I just miss Goran. I can't believe he's not doing anything where he's at now in Milwaukee. But still, it's the basis. But Andy and Pat, they're really answering to one man. And I'm just saying, if you had a competent 3-point shooter out there, you go defense. But my God, we can't make runs to come back anything under 6. It's like my butthole clenches. When I'm like,
I've been noticing like a lot of fourth quarter leads are just once they disappear, it's like there's no way to Mm-hmm.
And the guys who are shooting the 3-pointers, and I saw them live, so it's different when you see it live and you feel it. That's not. And look, we paid for Tyler. Good, Tyler's like 23, 24. You should pay for those guys. You know what I mean?
And Bam,
but
those guys. Yeah.
But Struss, Vincent, fair question to ask you. 30 teams in the league. Are they even like in the rotation on 29 of those? No. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Personal opinion. But whatever. Like, that's our storyline. There's a storyline for every offseason. It comes down to, I'm not telling you to spend the money. But I am saying that you keep Spo. You keep Pat Riley because you always need to shine. Same way if Magic Johnson stayed in LA if he wasn't given those high quality profiles because he can attract guys. But it's fair to say you go to any Ellis, but like you give him some bad contracts. Because hear me out, it ain't just Kyle. He's giving a bad contract too. There's a certain man who's playing over like Puerto Rico right now, named Hassan Whiteside, that I would like you to sit down and have a conversation with because
is he really in Puerto Rico?
I think so. I think he's playing in one of the leagues there. Now I have to check because we're talking about players we remember forget, but we can never, ever forget Hassan Whiteside and his flat-footed self. Man said, hey, my vertical is this tall. And you're like, all right. The Barritas de Quebradillas of Baloncesto Supernacional.
Okay. All righty.
This is fantastic. And look, I'm glad. I'm not trying to like try on everybody. But
that's also uncultured swine as well.
Just everything. About so and here's the uncultured swine. The Baloncesto Superior Nacional is a Puerto Rican-based basketball team, basketball league, part of the Puerto Rican Basketball Federation. Number of teams are 12.
12 teams on that little island. Okay.
Yeah. Current champions are Vaqueros de Bayamon.
Vaqueros.
And all these fun things. This is great. Louis actually brought back an old segment. Like 3 of them. I can never.
We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back to try and find talking points again.
Unfortunately, it's pain, as the Andre Bauer gift tells us. Pain. Because there's a lot of pain in what's coming in the second half. That's all I got for baseball.
Basketball. I mean, we're at. Okay, so I guess we can dedicate at least like 5 minutes to baseball before we reach the half, and then we'll get to the big beefy WrestleMania review. Baseball started. The new rules are in place. The bigger bases, the pitch clock, and all that stuff. So the getting rid of the shift, and thus far, I mean, I've already been to one game. Saw the Marlins play the Mets. They won. The game was 2 hours and 9 minutes. I got out of the ballpark and I'm like, the night is still young. Wow, I'm gonna go home and game. That's basically what I did, but more time to game. It was nice leaving a baseball game, and it's not like 10:30. That was always the trouble there. So even now, I was looking at the score. The Marlins are playing the Twins right now. It was like the game started at 6:40. It was already like, let's see, what inning are they in? I'm gonna look right now. Let me look up at the score crawl right now. They are in the seventh inning now. The game's almost over. That's how quickly some of these games can go. Of course, Sandy's pitching for the Marlins, so that could also help out a lot with that. But regardless, the games have been shorter on average. It's been at least like a half an hour ish shorter than games so far last season around the same time. So that's cool. Stolen bases are up. That is also cool. I think extra base hits are also, and singles are up as well, thanks to no shift. So that is also cool. And we're getting exciting plays again. And of course, yeah, there's a bunch of boomers and whatever contrarians and things like that on Twitter, like, oh, the new rules suck and all these other things. The game is shorter now. I'm like, the game is still 9 innings. It's just, they got rid of all the fluff. They got rid of all the riffraff, all the stuff that we don't really need to see. It doesn't, a guy adjusting his batting gloves for 40 minutes. We don't need to see that no more. Right? Get your ass in the box. Look at the pitcher. Lock eyes with them. Tell them you love them, and then get ready to hit. That's what we want to see. All right, grab the ball, get on the mound, and get going. Let's move. Other sports have time limits, have illegal positionings and all that stuff for a reason. So now baseball's got it, and I think it's good for the game, and I so far have been enjoying the baseball games. And I don't know if you guys have seen it. The Marlins are, they're 1-4, but I am still enjoying baseball. The Rays are undefeated, and and Aaron Judge is trying to shove it to Charles.
Oh wait, we have a cold job. If we're gonna do the 5.
Oh yeah, we did have a cold job.
Of the first game of the season, we got a cold job. Like 11 strikeouts, going 6 innings deep. No earned runs. Because what's the criteria for the cold job? We've been doing 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
It has to give me, the ERA has to be, or not the. Not ERA. The score
like
has
one
to be
run?
at least 1 run. We're not going to ever advance it to 2 because 2 is a very big average. At least half getting into it. Close to 10 strikeouts because it depends. What are you going to take the run? Because sometimes you just don't get strikeouts.
At least like 6-7 innings pitched or something.
Yeah, 6-7 innings pitched. Well, because you want the win. The W matters.
Yeah.
Because remember, we had to do a statistical cold job, a real deep analysis. If we don't have that, so what that would be would just be kind of like a preload cold job, and it's too much analytics because there's times last year with no decisions.
This is not an analytical show.
yeah, but but what am I going to have to, essentially it's just doing the warm up on the car ride, and we're not ready for that. It's too hard to go analytical on that because the cold jobs we all do a little prior, right, on the date night, kids. We gotta we have to make it purely understandable for all the mass media. But we have one. I should have done a cold job prediction. I'm gonna do the cold job prediction now. Take it into account. I am predicting. Andrew's gonna look at me and laugh. I am predicting. I'm going to go big here because I feel like last year he was a little bit off his game, but he had high strikeouts that ERA ballooned up. I am predicting, boys, 14 cold jobs.
14?
14. I'm going big because I am trying to make this man the true Mr. Yankee, the true face of the franchise.
Make him that. I mean, that's a Cy Young right there. That is a Cy Young.
Well, he's always in the running, and I think his record I think we quoted him at like 8 or 9 cold jobs. And the year prior to that, when he was in higher consideration, I think he was at 10. I think he figured out he was having his beef broth and bone marrow, if you guys remember the clip. Watching his favorite renovation shows, I think he knows that one man disappoints me in the playoffs, that he has to step up. he's a highly paid pitcher in like the top 3. But there's one guy on his team who got a whole lot of money for doing a regular season work for no show.
Here we go.
Because you know what? I have a better chance of getting a cold job in the playoffs than a jerk for Judge. And I'm sick of it, boys. And I'm sick of it. I'm still glad we paid him because we still need somebody. But you know what? Until I get my jerk for Judge in the playoffs, I'm going to go high school. I have faith in you, Garrickle. Please follow us on the Twitter at ShowJR.
Yeah.
Also true. Dan Freeholder Sports.
Download Raid Shadow Legends.
And then, so that's my piece on baseball.
Garrett Cole, you have a lot of money. You can get a lot of stuff in Raid Shadow Legends if you want to. Just saying. It's free to play to start, but you know you got a big giant contract, and I think you can get a lot of those 600 or so champions, right? You don't have to just solely rely on the in-game rewards, but if you feel like it, Garrett Cole, you can use the promo code MARSESESP. There we go. That's how it goes. And you know you can get some nice cool bonuses to start out your Raid Shadow Legends career with. All right.
I'm trying to count cold jobs with 2022.
Well, in the meantime, Andrew, how do you feel about your Rays starting out undefeated?
First time 4-0 franchise history.
Dear Lord. And you guys came out with the Devil Rays jerseys on opening day.
Mm-hmm.
And mind you, we all know
we need to go back to
the opening day or the first week, but we're still happy, all of us collectively, even Francisco.
Not if you heard my stream yesterday after the Marlins game. Oh boy, but the Rays are looking good, and that's probably not going to be a fluke. We'll say that much. Also, we had our first Tungsten Arnold Doyle moment on opening day, so that was great too.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the Angels have started off hot, but we all know that is very, very much subject to change in about a month or so. So
that's like every like first 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden it just ends. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So suddenly they realize that Trout can't pitch for them, and Ohtani can't pitch every day for them. So there you go. All right. So we're at an hour and 4 minutes, so I think it's a good time to do our word from our non-sponsors and people and places and things and concepts and what have you that we've been enjoying over the last week. And all right, who wants to start? I've been starting for like the last few weeks, but does anybody else want to start this week?
I'll go. I'll start.
All right.
It's been a while since I've started.
Go ahead, Andrew.
This one's kind of an out there one, but it's kind of a general. Well, okay, so I guess the main head of the sponsor would be this YouTube channel called Ryan Hall, y'all. He's actually live right now, as a matter of fact. He is an amateur meteorologist out of Kentucky who
this is a YouTube channel, you said?
Fame. Yeah.
Ryan
he was kind of Ryan Hall.
Oh, that reminds me of that other segment we used to have. Right, Let's Haul Y'all.
Let's Haul Y'all, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so I found it.
So he, just in short, he's an amateur meteorologist, but he knows what he's doing, and he does these streams whenever there's a major tornado outbreak, either projected or imminent.
He's doing one right now, actually.
Exactly. There's a possible tornado outbreak going on tonight over in the Midwest. So, you know, he started off relatively small, but then he gained a lot of notability when he did a long stream during a massive tornado outbreak in December of 2021. That's where I found out about it for the first time. You know, stuff that I assume he takes some cut because he doesn't, I think either he does this full time or I'm not 100% sure, but he's donated like hundreds of thousands of dollars through shop purchases to tornado victims. He just went down there recently to the site of a big outbreak that happened in
that's a real MVP
in
right
Arkansas
there.
a couple of days ago. But aside from that, he's kind of taken tornado forecasting sort of to the Gen Z, if you will, because for Gen X, they remember getting it through the TV, through local newscasts. Same with me. That's how it was when I was growing up. But nowadays, they're doing it through like local news sites are streaming it through YouTube. Yes, but I don't know, the way that he does it is making it more accessible to more tech savvy folks, and is kind of, I'm trying to describe it. He does it in a way that is accessible to people who know all about tornadoes, knows nothing about tornadoes. He shows live streams of different storm chasers as they're chasing. He shows their videos. So he's doing both a public service in a sense, because he does warn people. He goes through Google Maps or whatever. He says, okay, it's going to be heading toward this Walmart on this street. So he warns people in advance. In a way, he's helping typical forecasters, because there are people that watch him that don't watch typical weather forecasts on their local news. A lot of people have said that he, either directly or through a friend of theirs, saved their lives due to his warning of a tornado. But I mean, for me though, we haven't had any tornadoes. That's why. But for me, it's because it's tapping into a hobby that I had lost from when I was a kid. I used to be obsessed with tornadoes, and it makes sense. I grew up in Oklahoma. It's like, hi, yes, can I get a McDouble with a side of tornado, please? You just got them all over the place. I fell away from it when I moved to Florida. You don't get as many tornadoes here, and I wasn't surrounded by it, so I kind of lost interest. But since I found this channel, I've found other people that are interested in meteorology that follow this. Even some people on RCFB. We all kind of get together whenever there's an outbreak, like, oh, so what's going on? How's it going? What's this guy seeing? So it's been a fun way to both connect with new people, but also to reconnect with an old passion of mine. It kind of sprung that back to life for me. Call me crazy, but part of me has thought about auditing a meteorology class at a university, just so I can be a little more up to date with what's going on.
Alrighty. Well,
and actually, as a matter of fact, there's a pretty decent tornado on the ground right now in Iowa. He has it showing on the stream. But anyway, so Ryan Hall, y'all, for protecting people, but also indirectly, helping me dive back into a passion of mine from eons ago. Promo code. I think he calls them the Hall Squad. I forget what it is, but yeah, shout out to him. He's a great great forecaster. Yeah, check him out. Promo code, I'll just say Brian Hall, y'all.
Okay. Alrighty. Charles, would you like to go next?
Yeah, consider effective stealing. Andrew, you were just goddamn adorable sometimes.
Well,
Like the man's like, I love
Why?
tornadoes, and I just have this
He's like
image
Mike
of him
Trout.
for Halloween. He wants to be Bill Paxton's character from Twister, and he probably asks his mom each time to do it. It never change, never change. I think it's cute. It's fun. Anywho, you know what else is cute and fun?
I did, for what it's worth, I did attend a meteorology summer camp when I was a kid.
There you go.
I just have this. I have a misty tear.
I was never Bill Paxton. I do regret not being Bill Paxton for Halloween, though.
You're still alive.
That is a
living on
lost
this
opportunity.
You're still alive living on this earth, and you have 6 months until Halloween, and it's never too early to plan. You just have to give selections. You can always be Bill Paxton and Twister. So my non-sponsor is related to also cute and beautiful, and that because it has Tenyin Uzui. And I have mentioned this show as a non-sponsor, and that's Demon Slayer, because I watched season 1 and I watched Mugen Train, and I had started getting back to one of the worst mistakes I made was downloading Hulu on my phone to utilize for jogging. And I was like, you know what? The way that Mugen Train had ended, I was like, man, it kind of hurt my heart, kind of hurt my soul. I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it. But you know, season 2 came out last year, and Charles is in weird transitions life. So I'm like, sometimes you have to, you know, get the right show, right vibe, right energy to kind of get you going. And then I'm like, you know, let's watch it. It was all on Hulu or Crunchyroll, depending what you want to do. And then I watched the first episode, and it's dealing. I don't want to do spoilers, but it was dealing with the aftermath of the Mugen Train. And boy, howdy, did it gave me a role model in Tengen Uzi, who is a Hashira, the sound Hashira. Big, 6 foot guy, big muscles. He's flashy. He likes to flare. He's got 3 wives. He does polygamy. Good on him for that. But he's just a complete utter badass. And I just destroyed that season. I binged that season. Season 3 is continuing on, or season 2, because they didn't call it 3, but in my head it's 3. But season 2 is the Entertainment District arc, and it's following the adventures of Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu with Tanjiro's sister, who, of course, now the name escapes me, you know, Nezuko. And then you read the stud. You've seen him. I was sending gifts in the entire app. Poor Andrew was like, why are you showing me this big, beefy man, Charles? Because it's a big, beefy episode, guys, of Tenyu Uzui, and it was good. The action was good. You know, it's an 11-episode season. First episode is like 47 minutes, but it's dealing with the aftershock of Mugen Train, and then going back to the whole thing about Demon Slayers trying to defeat the demons, so Nezuko could not be a demon anymore, and Tanjiro can go from there. I think you want to hear what the first show was about, or my first review, go listen to the old podcast that, you know, Francisco has streamed up there. I was hooked, man. Like from episodes 5 to 10, the action was hitting, and I was like, okay, this is where they're going. Oh, this is where they're going. Oh, that's where they're going. And then comes episode 10, and I texted you guys, I'm like, bruz, what the fuck? What just happened? And I made an offhand comment that I cannot say on the show, because I think that was a dangerous one if I was to say. But it had such a cultural impact. I'm like, oh, Jesus. I'm like, what is this nonsense? And then the final episode was just like the clear up, but it was enjoyable. And I mention it because the Swordsman Village arc is premiering April 9th on Crunchyroll. They had a movie that came out, but apparently it was a bait and switch. So I wasn't going to see it, obviously, because it was a rehash of Entertainment District's last 2 episodes and the first episode of the new season. But the Swordsman Village arc is coming. I'm ready for the dub. I know I'm not that much of a weeb to do subs because I'm always kind of messing with my phone, so I miss the subtitle. It's not good for me. I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? But the dub's also very good too. There's some funny voices there if you like Attack on Titan. Bryce Papenbrook, who voices Eren, also voices Inosuke, and then also Tenyin Uzui has a great voice actor, so you should just listen to it now. So we love it. Demon Slayer, get you some. It's a very basic kind of anime in my thing. It's what I would call, and maybe everybody's gonna throw shit at me from the hall. All the weird little nerdy guys in my streets can come and like kick down my door. It's what you would call the starter anime of this generation, same way that Dragon Ball was kind of the starter anime generation. Dragon Ball Z was starting. I think it's a very safe anime for people to get into. That's not the slice of life that Francisco like, or that really weird stuff like Evangelion, which isn't weird, but it's deep and complex and like Ghost in the Shell, things of that nature, or some weird ass stuff that we've seen. So Demon Slayer, get you some promo code role model because that's what Tenin Uzui is, and it's a big beefy episode, so I had to put that on there.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, I think you all know where this is gonna go.
Oh yeah, I know.
Alrighty. So, for me, it's the Xbox One. All right, folks. So, sometime a little bit before last week, I was lazily playing along, streaming Homefront on the Xbox 360, and I did all right. I did my first sit down with the game, 2 hours, fine. I was like, all right, let's put in another 2 hours and finish the storyline and forget about this mediocre game. But kept putting my disc in. The Xbox 360 wasn't reading it. Kept putting it in, taking it out, and wouldn't read it. I took my I took my 360 apart and got into try to maybe clean the lens on inside of it, and then I put it back together and still wasn't working. I looked online on YouTube, wasn't working still, and then I finally got it to work after the 25th time, and I was able to play and finish Homefront. So I'm done with that. It's a very low 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.9 out of 10 type of game. Don't play it. You're not missing anything if you don't play Homefront. Anyways, 360. I got it used. It's gone on in age. I've read that one of the first things that go, aside from those that are red ringed, but this is one of the second or third batches of them, which are actually good. But one of the first things that go is the laser on the disc. Is that they start crapping out, and they've made a few different models of those disc trays. So I was looking on eBay to try and see if I could find a replacement for it, and it was like, no, they're a bit expensive. You have to find the right model too. You have to kind of basically find the same exact one that your 360 has. So I was looking, I'm like, well, I've got all these 360 games that I got used off of Goodwill, and I checked, the backwards compatibility list. Of course, Charles was there trying to, consult with me and things like that. And he's like, okay, fine. And he, through advisement from him, he's like, you should upgrade. I'm like, okay. And Charles, of course, wants me to get the Series X and go in on it so he could probably buy his own Series X. And
yeah, you're not wrong. No half measures here.
But me, I'm still trying to catch up on the last 2 generations of video games. So I just went with good old Xbox One. That's it. So the Xbox One, I got an Xbox One S, so I got that model instead of I was looking. The One X is the one that's most powerful of the 3, but
it puts the X in expensive, right?
Yeah, for after all these years, now that it's been 2.5 years since the Series X came out.
Yeah, Series X came out 2.5 years, but remember, they're not going to drop. We talked about this. They're not going to drop the prices even 2.5 years later because of chip production, short the amount of profits made.
And they actually raised the prices on both those consoles.
Yeah,
the
so
PS5
why wouldn't get it now, Andrew? So why wouldn't they have the Xbox One, drop too low? Because I know people would just try to go to that because at the end of the day, Game Pass, and the stuff that comes out on this extra play on the X1.
Yeah. So, I was looking at Xbox One X's, even on eBay, even used, they're still pretty expensive. I already have a gaming PC. I'm not going to buy something that my gaming PC is already better than at that point. So I'm like, okay, we'll go one model down. So I went with the Xbox One S, which Microsoft is no longer even showing these things off on their own actual website here. But it's cool. It's fine. Whatever. And regardless, I got that. The One S, it's white. It's small. It's actually basically it's a little bit smaller than my Xbox 360, and it plays the pretty much all the Xbox 360 games that I have are backwards compatible. That's the really cool thing about the Xbox, is that even if you get the Series X or the S or the One X or the original Xbox One or the S, what have you, you can play a ton of original Xbox 360 games on them, and Xbox One over to the modern consoles. So that's what intrigued me. A lot of people don't like playing backwards compatible games or retro games. I'm all about that stuff. Y'all know me, right? I've pretty much played almost everything that's on the Switch Online. I've got my money's worth out of that subscription. So why not get the Xbox One S? Try to, man, the feeling of getting a brand new video game, not even brand new, that I got mine used, but like getting a new video game console to you and bringing it home and setting it up and turning it on and seeing the startup screen for the first time. I could have gotten a Virtual Boy and I would still be like, ooh, this is going to be fun. And so I set it up, turned it on. Of course, I have an Xbox account, so all my stuff is pretty much still there. And 500 gigabytes, that's very, very little nowadays, right, for all these games. So, like, okay. I bought, a $50 external solid state drive. That's where I put all my games on. Cool. Reads the games faster than on the regular hard drive that's on the actual Xbox. And now, pretty much have all my 360 games already downloaded there and inside the hard drive. So I just need the disk just to start it up, and it reads it off the solid state drive. Cool beans. I started out with 3 actual Xbox One games. Actually, 4 Xbox One games. I got Forza Horizon 3 because that was the one game that I have not played or beaten yet, and it's not on PC anymore because they don't have licensing rights no more. I bought a combo pack of Gears of War Ultimate Edition with Rare Replay, which comes with like 20 other Rare games. So now I have Banjo-Tooie and Perfect Dark and a bunch of all those Rare games as well. So that's cool. That's cool for me. And I bought MLB 23 The Show because Jazz is on the cover, the Marlins player on the cover. Why not? I can actually play a modern sports game with some of y'all finally. And so that's been... I haven't really delved deep too much into it, but it's fun. It's fun to tinker around with that. And I just like the fact that I can play all these Xbox games on one system, because there are some things that don't show up on PC. The Rare Replay stuff, that's not going to be on PC or anything like that. So I'm going to be looking out for Xbox One games that are basically just Xbox One games. Can't get it on PC, and even like the sports games, I definitely like the NHL games. They never put those on PC either. So now we can finally go in on that, huh, Charles? In 2024, NHL 24 for the next
Are we
season,
allowed
September?
to?
I don't
Are we
know.
allowed to?
Andrew,
Are we allowed to?
Are we all going in on NHL come September?
What if they haven't made any incremental developments because it's EA? Look, man, you're gonna get this until it's gonna happen.
I'm probably getting it. I'm probably getting it. Especially if like Kachuk or somebody's on the cover of it, for sure I'm getting it. And but either way, that's cool. I like the fact that a bunch of games, especially like Driver San Francisco, I can't wait to get to that game, and Forza, that's gonna be fun. So, what?
I remember Driver from back in the day.
No, but this is Driver San Francisco. I've seen reviews for this thing. It is a hidden gem. I'm glad I got a copy of that one. And so ease of use, you can use the phone app and stuff like that. It's cool. I like it. All right, so that's it. Xbox One, promo code Bill Gates. All right. Cool beans. Oh, and I forgot, before we start the big beefy wrestling review, I've got Frankly Frank. So the music recommendations y'all gave me. So just it'll be quick. What you guys suggested to me. So let's start with Andrew. You recommended to me to listen to Prince's Purple Rain album.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I had to pick 3 songs that I liked from that. So these are the three. Purple Rain, of course. I picked that. I picked.
If you didn't pick Purple Rain, I would strangle you through the screen.
So I picked Purple Rain. I also picked When Doves Cry.
Goddamn right.
Good song.
And I picked The Beautiful Ones.
Oh, I love that song.
There we go.
Great trio of choices there.
All right. Cool. All right, Charles. And now you have suggested to me Glass Animals by Zaba?
No,
Or Zaba by Glass Animals? What
no,
is it?
by Glass Animals.
Okay, all right. So you suggested me that. And these are the three songs that I picked. I picked Coco Hooves.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
I picked Gooey.
Gooey's so goddamn good.
And I picked JDNT.
All right, so can you explain to me why you did not pick Black Mambo?
Was I supposed to?
No, I just like I love Black Mambo.
I have to re-listen to it to kind of give you a reason why. But
That's fine.
look, when
You're
I
allowed
listen
to
to
like
these
what you
games,
like.
when I listen to these songs and stuff, I really am comparing them to like some game soundtracks that I've heard, right? Especially because they're influenced by real music from outside the game sphere and stuff like that. So when I was listening to, for whatever reason, I equated Prince to like Sega Genesis games, and I equated Glass Animals to like Super Nintendo games for whatever reason. I got that vibe.
I can definitely get with the way they did that album.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
So
With music, for me, it's cinematic, because if I see a scene that I want to write, that's how sometimes they reflect. But I feel you. There's always an association.
well, and let's start with this, because you guys give me the recommendations after we do the show, and that's cool and all. But I want to get like into the mindset. Andrew, why did you suggest Purple Rain to me? Like, of all the things, 'cause you have a ton of suggestions, but it seems like you have a deliberate reason why.
My train of thought when coming up with these albums is to try and expand your musical horizon a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying I have the most diverse musical taste in the world, but I intentionally went from Toto, which is more kind of a hard rock feel, to Ben Folds 5, which is more kind of like a small jazz band sort of feel, to Prince, who's fucking Prince. I'm trying to find genres and artists who are at the top of their game, in just trying to just kind of like, here, I want to throw a little bit of this at you, a little bit of this at you. So it's deliberate in the sense that I'm choosing these really good bands, but I'm trying not to stick to just one type of genre either. So my intention is more just to kind of see what piques your interest, what expansions are you fond of, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Although you haven't told us though a overall rating for any of these albums. You just tell us what are your 3 favorite songs.
I mean, I don't think
if you like it or hate it.
I don't. What do you mean, like as far as rating, like overall?
Just if you liked it or you hated it.
I mean, I like it. I'm open to all of these. That's why I picked 3, because I don't really think I'm qualified enough to give a rating, because I mean, we're just starting this out, so I can't really. Maybe like by the end of the year or something like that, I can be like, or by the end of the season, I can be like, oh, this is my favorite out of the ones that.
You could be like, I liked it, or I didn't like it, and I won't listen again. That's fair.
I mean, so far you guys have given me, I haven't like hated any of it. It wasn't like I listen to them while I'm working, and I'm jamming, I'm jiving, I'm moving my hips and stuff like that when I'm going through. So none of the suggestions thus far have been like, ooh, I can't get through this. So I'm giving it a shot overall. Okay, I played through Homefront. I can get through these songs.
That's me talking about Gotham Knights.
Oh man.
But
So
you know what you don't need to. But you know what you don't need to suffer through to play?
what?
Raid Shadow Legends.
That's true, Andrew.
Look at that. God damn it. Give him his flowers.
You know, Raid
Give him his
Shadow
flowers.
Legends. It's free to play, right? You just put in the promo code for us, and you'll get some nice little treats and stuff like that. Type in Mar SESP, and you'll be good to go with Raid Shadow Legends. Download it now. You can play it on your PC, your Mac, your mobile phones, Android, iPhone, what have you. It's on there. There's 600 champions, right? So you guys haven't suggested 600 songs as of yet, but we'll get there. We'll have just as many champions as songs to listen to. Okay. And Charles,
There is that movie though, 500 Songs of Summer. So.
Fantastic. No, 500 Days of Summer, bud. Sorry, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
500 Days of Summer.
Zoe Deschanel.
all right. And Charles, why did you suggest Glass Animals Zaba to
I
me?
never thought it is a song I don't think you ever heard or about them except for what you heard on the radio because they're responsible for Heat Waves off their album Dreamland. But that is it is an okay song, but it's such a radio hit that I want to bring you to the album that I heard them on, going from because I heard Gooey I heard Gooey and then I heard Black Mambo and my weird dive when I was an intern at the state attorney's office, and it made me go into like some cinematic realms. I have because I used to still buy CDs because my car does CD players because I'm like I'd rather just hear it full because I want to hear it while I'm driving because where I live is Podunk Town, so you don't get good radio. I get my rap music and my rock music, but I have their second album How to Be a Human Being, but their vibe changed a little bit. But I'm like, oh, go from there. Put a little bit when I'm in the mood. Now I haven't heard that first album in a while, but Toes, Gooey, and Black Mambo. It's been a while since I heard JDNT. And it's about different kind of sounds and everything because I think they kind of break the mold of what a stereotypical sound would be for alternative rock, if you want to call it. And that's the thing about alternative rock. I've given you 2 back-to-backs on it with Black Keys and then Glass Animals. Is the idea of here's Andrew giving you what was the commonality of maybe with what 80s music were hair bands, pop, classic rock, lover rock music. There's so many. We haven't even gotten to like the death metal into it yet. So I'm like, all right, let me give them the modern trend of maybe rock alternative in the 2010s to the 2020s. So it's kind of almost, in a way, it's like hand and foot division. That's just me.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, so we're at an hour and 33 minutes, so I think it's time.
Fuck. And it's 8:48, so really, I'm going to keep this reasonable for everybody. Try to be done with this by 9:10, 9:15.
All right.
Let's do it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome, everybody, to your weekly Truplex, the big beefy edition of The Cage with Charles. And when we say big beefy edition, I'm going to give shouts to big beefy men who this is the kind of feeling it's going to be of The Cage. It's going to be Yokozuna and then, Earthquake kind of size, big beefy men, the Big Show kind of Mark Henry big beefy men edition of The Cage. Remember, wrestling is not fake. It is scripted. It's a stage fight. It's a song and dance about men and women chasing championships, establishing their legacies, getting some good old revenge, and trying to just make you know that they are important, they matter. And wrestling is a soap opera. Wrestling is a connectivity. Wrestling is love. Wrestling is pain. Wrestling is predictions. Wrestling is never knowing sometimes what's happening, even though you think it's right in front of you. And then wrestling is a little bit of heartache. Wrestling is a lot of heartache. And we're going to get the bad news out first. Because you know what? If my last thought on this earth, if I'm on my deathbed, kids, is going to be about the negatives, then that ruins the way of how my story goes open to close. And this is the same way how I treat it with my wrestling with something that's this big, beefy edition. I don't want to think about the glooming shadow that's over me, the big twisters that can suck up my little mobile home. No, I want to think about the nice, beautiful ray of sunshine on a nice day with some grass in the background. He's back. We knew he was going to be back. And he's back looking like a villainous human being here to break my heart. Like Dick Dastardly. What's the Twitter say? That he's going to tie me up. And we knew it was going to happen. It was July 13th. I said was like the happiest day of my life, 2022. Well, Vince McMahon knew that I have, Vince and I, we're a day apart in birthdays. We're both Virgos, right? And, I can predict wrestling pretty well as well. But Vince knew was like, I need to kick Charles when he's down. I really need to spit in his eye a little bit. I got to let him know that I'm the only public enemy number one. He's back. And the big news is that WWE has been sold to Endeavor, who owns UFC. And, it's a good brand. It's a good deal. They got it for $9.4 billion. They're going to merge. I think that was the valuation what they saw WWE, which is a lot of money. They were barely cracking $1 billion. So they get that high of amount. And there was a lot of different shifts and changes and said who's going to be leading the show and not leading the show. But Vince, with that Dick Dastardly mustache and that jet black hair, basically said that he'll be there on creative on the big end, but not in the weeds, as he says, which we all know is a goddamn lie. And I get it from a business standpoint of Ari Emanuel because of the fact that you look at who should be spearheading it. It's not the guy who took a Carney show and publicized it, published it, focused it, made a product, made a brand that was a valuation of $1 billion. Anybody could do wrestling shows. You can get your local bingo hall tables. This man took the Carney show, bought it from his father, and the end result was able to get this sold for $9.4 billion. He said, I want him. Why? Because who else in charge? Nick Khan, who's the CEO, Stephanie McMahon, stepped down at the sell. And then the next guy who would be kind of in charge of everything, talent relations, what have you, is Triple H, who's not a high business acumen. What is he at the end of the day? A wrestler, an actor, a overseer of a small business, if anything, with very limited roles. I get it as a business standpoint. It's cutthroat. It's the life lessons, right? It's the life lessons. We talk about the Mike Brown effect earlier in the show. You put in somebody, you want somebody who's who can fix it, make it, maximize and make it look good, right? And then you have Dick Dastardly coming in there, and you already feel the effects of it. I mean, granted, there's already been the rumor mills of how it was on the Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, kids. Don't follow Vince. We hate him. About what that might impact talent, creativity. But I at least got to see a full Big Four pay-per-view with Paul Levesque, Triple H in charge, and I know what people are saying. They're like, oh, maybe he will back off. Maybe he just wanted to come back from the Raw after WrestleMania, because Vince was heavily in there. He rewrote scripts. Segments felt off. It felt out of touch. It was weird. But I was happy, guys. I was a true happy fan. The wrestling was good. The promos were good. Women got to wrestle more than 3 minutes on a Raw and a SmackDown. Talent was utilized. Gunther was fantastic. Roman Reigns was fantastic. And I'll give Vince my due. He got really sloppy and bad and not caring the last couple of years. But he at least handled the bloodline storylines well enough. And I do believe, Andrew, and we're going to get a little bit of your 2 cents in there, that he had an impact on what happened at the end of Mania with Roman. But it was good. But you know what? That's the whole thing about a villainy. That's the whole thing about villainy. Heroes are not consistent, but the evil is always out there. And we're not going to be good. We're not going to be whole until Vince is just gone. And fine, you do have alternative wrestling. If this really bothers you guys, and the problem is we don't care about the WWE product. We care about the talent either, because we like the people, right? You just go and support that. You want those things. You like the Seth Rollins, the Drew McIntyres, the Baileys, the Becky Lynches, and even guys who don't get, and gals who don't get the big ups that they have, the Mustafa Ali's, the Dana Brooks. You feel that connection, you support, because at the end of the day, they're the actors in the play. Vince is right in the final picture and getting into it, but they're the ones who are putting out the performances. But he's back, and I don't know what any of it means. Do I care at this point? No, because it was expected. I never told you guys, what was the first thing I said? I don't fucking believe it. And
I wish I could share the group chat on the screen.
Right. I mean, there was a lot of Chris Benoit gifts. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna look back actually while you talk. Hold on, I'm gonna start.
So it was literally like painful, but he's back, and you know what? It is what it is. What it is. I can choose to not watch. I can choose.
I like the M. Bison one for sure.
The M. Bison one. Oh my god! But Vincente McMahon is my favorite thing. Vincente McMahon, because the mustache is so bad.
Did you see my mashup from last night?
Yes, yeah. and so that's why I collectively put it to. It's been fantastic. And there's the one I sent you guys with the Brock Lesnar one on his face. I'm like, that's gonna be a reaction meme for a lot of stuff in my life. What I will say this is where this takes me is where it always kind of took me, where I just really won't watch Raw or SmackDown, and I'll watch the pay-per-views when I want to watch it. But this Triple H's 9-month endeavor, really, I watched every pay-per-view. I was very satisfied for the most part. Some of them were average, but they were a good kind of average. It was like that popcorn flick. Okay, we know. Vince is, man, I skipped Survivor Series several times. I skipped some Saudi stuff because it just was uninspired. But whatever, that's the bad. But life, man, there's 24 hours in a day. Those 6 hours or 5 hours, I don't sleep that well, that I'm sleeping. I got a remainder of 19 up, and not every hour is gonna be a great hour, but you have to reflect on those good times. And here I am reflecting on the good times because WrestleMania was this weekend. So with that came NXT. So I have to do the proper for NXT Stand and Deliver. We're gonna make it real quick. I'm just gonna go on like I liked it, I didn't like it, right? Make it really real simple. Tyler Bate, Chase University versus the Schism. Thea Hall, Duke Hudson, Andre Chase beat out Schism, which is Ava Raine, who's the Rock's daughter, Joe Gacy, Britt Fowler, and Jagger Reed. Chase U won. They get to keep the brand. They get to keep the name. Interesting enough, Britt Fowler and Jagger Reed quit. They asked for the release, and they were requested the release. So good on them. Whether we know, we don't know why, but it happened. Indy Hartwell ladder match won the women's championship against Roxanne Perez, Zoe Stark, Gigi Dolan, and Valkyrie Tiffany Stratton. It felt like kind of like a bait and switch, but you know what? Sure, I can get behind it. Index came back. Dexter Lumis, I sent, Twitter posts, everything about them before. Good for her. Sometimes you need that kind of change because not everything has to be like you have to get the proper story of a build of an opponent and they lose the title and everything. No, you can make it instantaneous. Tag team match, Gallus versus the Family and the Creed brothers. It was okay. Nothing crazy. I knew Mark Coffey was going to come back and interfere, and he did. This match, if I had to put you guys on to some shit for NXT, I'm not as big as NXT with Shawn Michaels over it. Wesley in a fatal 5-way match defended his North American Championship against Axiom, Dragon Elite, Ilya Dragunov, JD McDonough. I sent you guys a lot of Twitter posts on it. Fantastic. Just fantastic. The match itself is 19 minutes and 17 seconds. Go watch it. Johnny Gargano returning for his last takeover against Grace Waller. Charles liked it. Alba Fire and Johnny Gargano won. Alba Fire, Isla Dawn versus Fallon Henry, Counter James for the NXT Women Tag Titles. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn won. It was okay. Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker. Pretty good. Some people didn't like it. I liked it. I thought it was fine. Carmelo Hayes dethroned Braun Breaker, and he is now the NXT champion. Andrew, that's the guy. Carmelo Hayes is the one that was sending in the Splatoon chats when I say him because that's his whole motto, and I didn't want to spoil myself for WrestleMania. So good job, NXT. You did fine. Let's go to the big stuff. Charles had to go to a charity ball, and he was able to properly avoid spoilers. Are we proud of me, guys? Are we? And it was tough because I'm so instant with my going on Twitter and stuff.
I think
like
Andrew was toying with you a little bit too.
Yeah. He's like, a Mysterio beat a Mysterio. A woman beat a woman. But Andrew's a good boy. Andrew is adorable. Andrew wouldn't be so mean and stuff like that. My paralegal, he was like, I told him, don't do this. Because if you did this, we're going to have some beef. And I'm going to be cooking it. But
I wasn't lying, though. Mysterio did win. A woman did win. I wasn't lying.
You weren't. So, night 1 and night 2, I had to watch it all on Sunday, guys. That is hard. That is like 7 hours. And God bless the replay feature for night 1 because I was able to shave 30 minutes off of a 4-hour pay-per-view. I want you guys to understand how important that was. I almost missed the Pat McAfee match, by the way, because I was shaving time off. But I thought night 1 was going to be not as good as night 2, and I was wrong. Night 1 was better. Night 2 was a little bit off, not because of the result of the main event. But we're going to kind of go over, but we're going to say, and I'll give you my matches of the night are going to be the ones I expand on because I have to really think logistically. And also me and my paralegal were trying to figure out why Vince had that mustache and realized he's 76 years old. So the cool guy for him was probably Clark Gable, and he wants to do a Gone with Wind. So his whole sexual assault charges, not charges, but lawsuit. I bet you, when everyone's like, but Vince, you're bad for business. I bet you he grew out that mustache purposely when he was forcing himself back in to be like, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Ooh, we brought it all together because I'm obsessed with that old classics now. So night 1, Austin Theory, John Cena. We know the story behind it. I explained it last week. I'm going to kind of go to the results and whether I liked it or not. I didn't care for this match. Why? Because Cena didn't do much into it. Theory beat him. He low-blowed Cena. Cena had Theory tapped out. The ref was down. My problem with this match is that I feel with, and this is speculation, Cena's a decent Hollywood star. He's the only good former WWE wrestler as a movie star. Rock, your movie Black Adam sucked. You don't need a live remake of Moana. Just stop. Your Zoa energy drink is not good. Just do better, man. Just give me like a C+ effort, and then we're okay in this game here. But I feel that Cena, obviously, guys, wrestling has real injuries. Despite people want to say it's fake. Well, go tell it that Owen Hart is dead, right? You tear your knees, you tear your shoulders, you break your hands. Cena is an actor. if he breaks his leg, if he tears his ACL, if he gets a shoulder labor turn, he can't do the action movies and he loses money, which probably pays him more than his wrestling performances. So I felt that they kept it very safe. So it was like meh. It was meh. It was okay. You know it was going to be safe. Good for theory. He beat a legend. We're going to see where it goes storyline. Men's Showcase, Fatal 4-Way, Street Profits, Braun Strowman, and Ricochet, Alpha Academy, Viking Raiders. They had 8 minutes to work with it, and it was enjoyable as hell. Street Profits run. 1, Ricochet's awesome. Montez Ford and D'Angelo Dawkins are fantastic. Let's see where it goes with it. A match that was going to be smooth like butter that I knew I was going to enjoy because Logan Paul, as obnoxious of a human being is, and I don't venture into stuff like that, so everybody just told me that he sucks and his brother sucks. I'm like, okay, I'm like the guy who does YouTube stuff and he fought Floyd Mayweather in a rig match. Like, yeah, that guy. He's a wrestler now. He's in WWE. He's been very impressive in his matches. I've highlighted. I'm like, the guy kind of moves naturally. Holy shit. He want to get Seth freaking Rollins. We love Seth Rollins up at this house. I really think he should be the one who throws Roman. I'm just saying. I don't care. Him and Seth went about 16 minutes, and it was just enjoyable from start to finish. It was a very good match. Not my match of the night. That's coming. And we're going to hold off on that. But I liked it. Seth was able to get the stomp on him. They had KSI, who I guess is another guy that Seth like frog splash. If I'm not in the know, I don't care for these people. I just know about them because of the Twitter stuff. But
there's another YouTuber influencer. Yeah,
we like Seth, and I needed Seth to have a win because he's lost like the last 3 Manias. He lost to Kevin Owens, he lost to Cesaro, and he lost to Cody. You got to build some credibility in there, and the fact that Seth is now also gatekeeping for stars turning wrestlers and having great matches with them. Fantastic. Women's trio match of Trish Stratus, Lita, and Becky Lynch versus Damage Control, Bayley, Dakota Kai, and Io Sky. It was okay. Lita and Trish Stratus were in their late 40s. They still put on a show. The match was a little wonky at times. I think it's because it's always kind of tough to do trios matches anyway. Damage Control lost. You just hurt their credibility. Their entire run has been bad, in my opinion. Bayley lost all the time. Couldn't win a title. The girls, Io and Dakota Kai won tag titles, but they lost it. They lost again to Lita and Becky. Let it be done. It was Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio. Hold off on that. No, I'll just tell you my favorites. I go from there because I want to talk about this. I love this match. I'm going to give you the spoiler now. This was my match at WrestleMania. Everything was in there. And didn't I say on the show last week, I was like, I think this is a match that's going to get me. Not the Sammy Owens combo versus the Usos, not the Cody Roman, not the Finn Edge. Stuff that was highlighted. I'm really into this because you have father versus son at a WrestleMania. They've been able to get some sustainability in this for about 7 months. Dominic is just a really good heel, and Rey just can't be hated. And he had his Hall of Fame thing, and Dominic and Rhea walked out. So it starts with the entrances, where Dominic comes out like he was in prison. The guy was in jail, kayfabe, for 1 day, but he's now prison con Dom. He comes in from like a prison escort with the Mysterio mask from Halloween Havoc, which everybody always reveres it. You've heard me mention it like out of nowhere on the show several times, with Studs coming in with his own music and then taking it off. Everybody's like, and then you get Rey Mysterio's entrance. Listen to Ain't Nothing But a G Thing by Snoop Dogg with Dr. Dre.
Snoop Dogg was there, of course.
Yeah. Who is driving him, and then it switches to Eddie Guerrero's Lie, Cheat, and Steal, and then going to Ray's music. And I was like, oh, my God. This is already great right now because WrestleMania is there for the entrances.
I'm showing the entrance right now.
Just appreciate this. Acknowledge this. Look at that. Because Dominic was so committed to this character about that one time in jail, guys, that he had drew on a prison, like a teardrop tat. So I'm just like, this is, and you know what? I'm going to say right now, a lot of people agree. Dominic kind of looked clean with that mask, bud. So, keep it. Once you retire Rey for good, keep that ish, because I think that it's a good push on, man. It's very good. The match itself, very fluid, told a good story. And, the right man one being Rey, even though I said you should have had Dom win. But it was the things that Dominic was doing that Rey was doing in that match. Because what happened? Because what was I saying, Francisco and Andrew? Chanclas unite. I said it was going to happen. Chanclas did not unite. Instead, we got something almost better. My father was watching it with me, and I had to kind of explain to him the run. I'm like, and he's like, a Hispanic father doesn't want to be this kid for disrespecting? What is this nonsense? Because the promo package was good. Rey took off his belt and whipped his boy. I was like, I was in the chat. I was hyper. I was ready. I was like, this is one style, already coming into it. And then Dominic threw water on his sister, and she was about to beat that ass. And then Angie, the match would have been it was already perfect in my eyes. It would have been even more perfect if Angie, she slapped Dom, Ray's wife. She slapped Dom, but if she just took off a fucking chocolate and just hit him. I'm sorry. There's just certain things that I want, that I need, because the fact that you gave me Ray just whipping Dominic with a belt, not once.
I'm showing it now. It's on the screen right now.
Like how do you not love it? Like, guys, if the crowd was hot for it too, if you didn't love it, because that's the story. It's like, all right, yeah, give it to him. Joe Jackson, Public Enemies podcast. We love them. Listen to it. Watch her stuff. They were having a day with it. I was having a day with it. It was great. And then Ray wanted to be the family man. It's just, man, I loved every bit about this match because I felt it. I knew it. I think he throws his water, his sister's cup at her, and then Angie hits him. And the rest, like, I'm not going to disqualify that. That's fine. Match was good. Match was fluid. Ray wins with a 619 to the frog splash. Everybody was committed to this. This feud is going to continue. Bad Bunny was there. So it was the ultimate, Hispanic giant, because he's going to host Backlash Puerto Rico, and Ray was going to use Dominic was going to use a chain on Ray, and Bad Bunny interfered to stop that. So it all collectively comes together. Plus, Ray's mask was of the Great Muta, who was also a Hall of Famer that night as well, or for the weekend, now inducted. Muy bueno. Muy bueno. Like, if I had to do a promo code on it, I would literally call it Chanclas Unite. Like, I felt it. I think my father and I just magically had one in our hands. It was great. We weren't even, like, Hispanic like that, and we felt it. My paralegal, he goes, "This now I know I was like one of y'all for an hour." That's what he said. And I'm, like, dying of laughter. I absolutely love that match because wrestling, you're supposed to be entertaining. Here comes, Benito right here. He's like, Titi Brucoto. It's because of the fact that he's like, I don't know how to wrestle now. I'm going to beat the hell out of everybody. It's just so good, guys. I loved it. Match followed that, which was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. Very good match. Women beat the holy hell out of each other. Rhea Ripley won. I liked it. Remember, she's part of the Judgment Day with Dominic, so it was interesting that you would have Dominic in that faction lose. She wins. Pat McAfee came out, fought the Miz for a couple seconds. Snoop Dogg was there, whatever. Then came the main event, night one. All right, I have to bring into us because I said 9:15, but I got to speed it up, right? The storyline that we've been waiting on for 8 months is this going to be the fall of the bloodline. Sami, Zayn, who became Sami Uso, come back to be Sami Zayn, reunited with his buddy Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens, who just hates the bloodline. Jimmy and Jey Uso, who were told by the tribal chief, just don't lose. And whereas you had a mixture of the Ray and Dominic match that had actual wrestling and story, this match to me was just more pure story. There was 22 super kicks in there. I understand that. But it was the back and forth. It was the we're not going to die. It was a tag team match getting a spotlight at WrestleMania for the first time since WrestleMania 1 as a main event. It goes back that far back, where I think it was Roddy Piper and it was Hulk Hogan, Lawrence Taylor versus Roddy Piper, and or was Mr. T in there? There's so much that comes into it. I'll have to readjust and reclarify. I'm not like the Andrew verse. A lot of things melch in, blame the trauma of law school. The match had the emotions. Hunter gave me everything I wanted. Hunter gave me everything I wanted. He gave me the false finishes. He gave me the parts where Owens would not give up. He gave me the parts where Sammy would not give up. I have it in the
background as well, the highlights at least.
I'm going to cry. He gave me the points of Jay not like telling them you wanted this. You had Jimmy being a tank. You had move stealing. There was move stealing. Sammy went on the top row and did the We the Ones and did the Uso splash. And then you had Jay doing the haluva kick, which is Sammy's finisher. Everybody was invested. Everybody was hot. Sammy literally wouldn't. He got one deed off the top rope and he kicked out, I believe. Or he got one deed and then he kicked out and they wanted to do Owens. No one's the finisher plex. Yes, he did the fisherman suplex. No one kicked out of the one D in the last year or so. And then the beauty of it was Sammy and Jay left. Sammy didn't haluva kick Jay once, not twice. He did it 3 times. He did the finisher 3 times. That's the ultimate, motherfucker, I'm going to get up close to you and shoot. I ain't going to go from a distance. I don't need no snapper. This is personal. And I was just in love with it because Jay was already KO'd on the first one, KO'd on the second one, and he falls to Sammy's chest. And Sammy's like, nah, bro, you're going to learn what happened. And then Jay's like, oh, damn. He about to wreck my shit. And I'm like, oh, damn, it's about to get crazy up in here. And then you just see Sammy with a big smile, knowing what's about to happen, because Sammy's goal is to destroy the bloodline. The bloodline is not a one-man story. It is a multi-person story. And it was just what I wanted. They get the 1, 2, 3. They win the undisputed tag team championship for Raw and SmackDown. Where they go from here in the storylines, I don't know. Vince is going to F it up anyway. I don't care about that because I got to enjoy the moments. You should care about, when you eat your meal, boys, you should care about eating it and digesting it. Never worry about it how you poop it out unless they gave you the runs. That means it was bad. Vince McMahon is going to give me the runs, but Hunter gave me the most delicious, delicate burger I ever had in my life. I love you, Hunter. thank you so much. Props to you because it's over now. The dream, look, the haluva kicks, the moon ceiling. It was great. Night 1, very strong. Then we go into night 2 of WrestleMania. We ready? So I had to give myself like a 3-hour pause when I watch it. I only had like 2 hours, and I had to get jersey mics and eat because what I have found is that the last several WrestleManias or Big 4 pay-per-views, I get a 44 buffalo chicken sandwich from Jersey Mike's, and I found that has happened. And I think I Pavlov myself. For $2, you get extra bacon. It's crispy. I gotta do this. Put it in my arteries. I missed that one because I was out schmoozing and hobnobbing and doing things that that maybe didn't trump WrestleMania, but I did anyway because I'm a good person. I care about supporting people, and I care about people, and you care, and you gotta do it. But oh man, imagine if I felt that live. And Andrew's like live text me, and I got Andrew back into it, and that was a consequence. I got Andrew back into it. Night 2, Brock Lesnar versus Amos startup. I enjoyed that opening match more than I enjoyed Cena in theory. The whole story is Amos is like a 7-foot, 425-pound man. How is Brock going to get this guy? Is he going to suplex him? Is he going to be able to F5 him? What's going to happen? Even though it was 5 minutes, I was thoroughly enjoyable. I was satisfied. I was sports entertained. Women's tag team showcase came out. A lot of women came in there. Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler won. Ronda's still injured. It was better than what people were crapping out for. I actually liked the match. It's not going to win like match of night or whatever, but it was enjoyable. We're going to skip over international beef patty. We're going to come back to it almost at the end because we know it's going to take some time. Snoop Dogg versus Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Good match, right? Here's the problem. The story was not built good. And I think it was time for Bianca to lose. But she won. And it was a match where, like, it goes either way. If the championship retained, I'm just here to see something as a palate cleanser from the International Triple Beef Patty. And it was a good palate cleanser. Where they go with that story, I don't know. So The Miz was supposed to wrestle Shane McMahon. And he had wrestled before. Shane comes in at, like, 55 years old, does this, like, jump up over The Miz, and tore his quad ACL and just, like, died. Basically, it was a legitimate injury. And then Snoop Dogg and Jessica Carr, the referee, did the best audible and said, "Hit this man." And then Snoop like punches him and does like the worst people's elbow out there to beat The Miz. Pay that man all the money as a thank you for helping out, because you needed that cooler between Gunther and the International Triple Patty, between Bianca and Asuka, and then getting Edge and the Demon. And then we talk about another injury. I didn't care for this match. I felt the problem with this match was going to be that Finn was going to lose, and I understand Edge maybe needed to win the story, but that was the hint to me that Cody was not winning if Finn lost, because I think Finn was a good transition to a feud for Cody. And the problem is also Finn got his skull split open, and they had to take a moment. The camera had to take away from him so he can get stitched and glued on and continue, because the ladder bounced back and connected clean. And you guys saw that picture. And Andrew's like, damn. And the whole thing about wrestling might be scripted. The injuries are almost 100% real. Now that Vince McMahon's, in charge, he's going to write about anal bleeding. He's done it before. It's stupid. But the match was fine. It suffered, obviously, because of the injury of what had happened. But, the entrances were cool. Finn came back as a Demon. You guys know how I feel about the Demon. If you need the body paint to be better and win matches, why don't you wear it all the time? But now you have lost 2 back-to-back matches as the Demon. You lost against Roman when God interfered, because that's what happened. The top rope snapped and you lost Extreme Rules 2 years ago. And now you lost at Hell in a Cell. So can we just retire the Demon? It just makes sense, right? Because now it's not doing what you have to do. It's not the power boost. It's not the spirit bomb of this stuff coming in here. You know what I mean? It's not the family Kamehameha of Goten and Goku, along with Gohan, just lining that up, right? My little anime nerding coming, the Weeb Nation representing. Now we're going to talk about it, because the main event is big. It was not my favorite match of WrestleMania. I think I put too much expectations on it, because that's what happens when you care. It's like a first date. Your heart beats and you never know how the conversation's going to go, right? But boys, International Triple Patty match, they were just beating the holy hell out of each other. And everybody looked good, because they had the interweaving story of Sheamus and Drew and their brotherhood, turned enemies, rivalry, wanting a championship. It was very important for Sheamus to have the Intercontinental Championship, because it's the only title that's ever eluded him. He's had all these other titles, which isn't true because he hasn't had the Universal Championship, but whatever. Who's talking about logic here, right? But you have Gunther, who got a full James Bond villain entrance with Kaiser and Vinci introducing him. You got Drew, who's just Drew, beating the hell out of people, kind of coming into it. And they were just physical, man. They were slapping each other. They were hitting each other. They were chopping each other. They were beats up, bond running each other. And I felt my arteries clogging. I was saying some stuff in the chat that I can't say on the show, but let's just say it involved something being flaccid, not flaccid anymore. It was, and you guys know I love Gunther. He's technically been, for the WWE ratings, like I think he's been the last 3 of the 4 match of the years for me, in things that he's been involved in when he was Walter in NXT and also Gunther now. Last year I think was or the year I have to remake that list, but let's not lose train of thought here. But slapping, hitting, story. Yes, Andrew, Gunther did disappear a little bit. That's kind of how it happens in triple threat matches. You can't always go because then it kind of gets awkward, but they told a story there. And then Francisco, can I tell you how it ended? Right? You know, there was all these false finishes.
I'm setting up the highlights in the background after the Cinnamon Toast Crunch commercial comes out.
Yeah.
But
everybody is kicking everybody for it. And because what I love about Gunther is that he doesn't have really a set finisher. He can beat you with a power bomb. He can beat you with a close.
So I've got it in the background. I have the video on the messenger for if you want to do a little play-by-play. It's like a 2-minute thing, but yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just looking at it right now. Like, you see these chops. Doesn't he look like a James Bond villain? And that's always the thing about Gunther. His chops are there, but Drew's a very physical man. But that chop right there knocked off the chest hair that Drew had. And also, like I say, Drew, if you're listening, because I know you listen to the Richard Nixon of shows, of podcasts or sport podcasts, those white trunks are clean on you, bro. I'm just saying, I don't understand it, but I was liking it more than I was liking the black. But they're just like, look at that being physical, and you could hear it. You can go from there. They're just clotheslining each other. It's just great. Sheamus once again steals show, because remember last year Gunther and Sheamus at Clash of the Champions was my match of the year for the WWE. I'm not gonna get that ever again with Vince in charge. What I'm gonna get is like Sheamus coming out with like a leprechaun, and then Gunther coming in with a full, Auschwitz kind of vibe, because Vince is like that. He attacks xenophobia like a motherfucker, and I hate him so much. And then Drew had to bring the Highlander thing because he's Scottish, because it only makes sense. But look at the beats of the bod, man. These guys, were their teammates, enemies, teammates again. It's just beautiful. I hate Vince McMahon so much. He's taken this away from me. He has taken this away from me because he doesn't know how to write anybody who's American to begin with, and he always he stereotypes. Andrew, hold me back. Can I file a civil rights lawsuit against him? Please. I hate that guy so much. I hate you, Dick Dastardly. I hope you and Muttley get your just desserts. Ugh. But so it ends, Francis, for the sake of time, because I can watch this background be handsome. But it ends with these false finishes where you thought Sheamus beat Drew, because remember, in a triple threat match, you don't need to pin the champion to win. I have to say that. So you thought he beat Drew. Oh, this was great too, because he hits Gunther, this rivalry making, with the bro kick, and then Drew just pulls him out. He had the win against the guy who can't be beaten. He had the win, and then his own boy took him out. That's just terrible. That's like me about to go for tower control and then pushing it, and then somehow, some way, Francisco screws me over, Ranger screws me over. I'm like, what are you doing to me on this? Why? We're put on the opposite sides. Sometimes it happens in Splatoon. It happened a lot in Splatoon 2, not 3, thankfully, but because more people play Splatoon. I'm getting excited. I gotta slow it down here. We're losing our train of thought. It ends, Francisco, with Gunther realizes what's happening with the false finish. Powerbomb. He picks up Sheamus. He powerbombs Sheamus. Where do you think he powerbombed Sheamus? You think he put him in the middle of the ring on the mat so Sheamus's body can hit just the mat? No. He powerbombed him on top of Drew McIntyre's back. He beat his boy with his fucking boy. And then after that, after a 260-pound man has landed on poor Drew McIntyre, Gunther picks him up and said, "Oh, it's a Black Friday BOGO special on power bombs," and he picked him up and powerbombed him on the mat to pin him 1, 2, 3. I haven't felt that excited on a triple threat match finish since Roman Reigns concerto both Bryan and Edge and stacked Edge and Bryan on top of each other to pin them at the same time. It was what I needed that to be. It's still not my favorite match, but damn it, it's in the top 3. I loved it. Thank you, Hunter. Then we get to the main event. So we know what the controversy. I'm not going to do the play-by-plays. I'm going to hit the bullet points and beats because there's somebody here who needs to chime on this who's been very quiet. Bloodline. You believed that Cody was going to do it. And you felt it because the Usos didn't come out with Roman. It was just Solo. And you had these entrances. And Cody's coming all cocky. They even brought, Brody Lee's family there. Brody Lee, who was the former Luke Harper, who died several years ago. That Charles gets still torn up on. And you're like, this is happening. Holy shit, we're going to do it. Because I got caught into it. I need the feel-good stories. The match goes like 34 minutes, and it's good. And there's times where Cody had a beat, and there's times where Cody's kicking out stuff. But what did I always say, guys? You haven't proved to me that Cody's a main event guy, but this match kind of showed to me that he's a main event guy. So he's about to win, right? But oh no, a referee goes down, boys. That spells trouble. Because why? It spells the bloodline coming out. Because they had kicked Jay out. The ref had kicked, not Jay, Solo out because he was interfering and figured it out. So they're like, all right, he's gone now. Nothing bad's going to happen. And then the ref went down. And look at this man dressed like All Might with wings. Jesus. What, man, the anime is strong in this beefy episode of The Cage coming into it. But then Jimmy and Jay come out. But who comes out? Fucking Sammy and Owens are like, oh no, we won titles night one. You're gonna stop our boy from winning the title night two. I'm like, yeah, you get that, because I'm even wearing my Cody Rhodes shirt. I sold out because you know what, guys? What did I tell you in the chat? What did I say in the chat? I was like, right when the main event about to start, I'm like, 3 years of greatness is about to end for mid. And that's what I said. A legacy of greatness about it, but I have to go with the tide and I have to accept it because life is about acceptance of things that you cannot control. Life is about acceptance of things you cannot control. And you can only go ways. That's what I thought, right? Wrong. Because in comes Solo, who was kicked out early and came back and spiked Cody. And then Roman pins him. And you get the 1, 2, 3. And I just stood up. My father was like, I stood up. And I'm screaming. Because you want to know, guys? Because here I was thinking that in Splatoon, we can no longer do the raising our wands, right? Because we can't support losers. Our sports move squad in Splatoon, follow us on that if you want some competition. We're about supremacy, and we can't support supremacy when you ain't supreme anymore. Is that correct? I believe that. We are him, right? Are we not that? So I was so sad. And Andrew's like, no, we don't have to do the ones. You be you. You do all this stuff. But then Roman won. I'm like, ha, 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 ha. Acknowledge me. We're back. And I was so happy. Because I'm like, okay, I understand the gripes is that, oh, if it wasn't Cody, then who? And we felt trash and everything like that. Blah, blah, blah. And obviously, that's when I felt like Vince is back. That selling feeling like, oh, a great emotional moment was taken away from me. Must be Vince McMahon. It was Vicente McMahon who did this stuff. But the match was very good. The finish was the wrong finish. I'm going to be the first. I think I put that in the chat. It was the wrong finish. But don't come at me. This is what I'm going to say. This is actually my analytical perspective. Don't come at me and says that now, if not Cody, then who? Because there's no challengers. That's like there's 2 men on that roster. One who hopefully will come back from injury soon. And one who's on that roster now that if they beat Roman, I can live with it. Bobby Lashley, who couldn't even wrestle because of the Bray Wyatt injury. But Bobby Lashley has been built to be an animal. The only reason why he had the U.S. Championship is because there's no main title on Raw. So don't look at Bobby Lashley and tell me he can't beat Roman. Right? Seriously, right? And the other guy, and it's okay. Because if you give me the whole, like, well, you have to build stars. I'm like, yeah, we get you have to build stars, but why can't a star be no star? If Randy Orton came back and beat Roman Reigns, I am absolutely 100% fine with it. Their story, the Bloodline hurt him, put him out of his misery. He was originally supposed to be the challenger last SummerSlam, but the back injury, the neck injury happened. Legitimately speaking, you can't go to straight face and says, if not Cody, there's nobody else. I don't know what they're going to do. Because if Bobby, you can give me a feud on that. To get to Cody, even. And then you give me a feud on Randy. Because here's the thing, too, guys. Let's say Randy actually beats Roman. Randy and Cody were in a faction together. Legacy. What is sweeter? Cody, who has some ties going against Roman, beating him to break Roman's record? Or him beating the man who was his mentor, that they were in a faction together, that they had a triple threat WrestleMania match several years ago for his first main championship. And also it's about family legacy. And Orton, because he's the Cowboy Bob Orton, was Randy's dad, and a Rhodes. Man, am I right? I don't know. Like, I get it. It's just about we're waiting to see what happens. But it does need to end soon. Because the Bloodline got injected with a new benefit of life with Sammy coming in. But yeah, at some point. But the match itself was very good. And we're going to see where it goes. The problem is Vince. And here I was thinking, I just have to accept the way things were. And they're like, guess what? You can still get what you want. You just have to, have a little faith in the ones. Now, Razor was one of boys. We did it. Overall, I felt like this was one of the best WrestleManias I've seen in a long time. And that's why I'm happy to have had that. Because when I find myself of all the big 4 pay-per-views of the Hunter administration, I like them all. SummerSlam was kind of mid, but I like Survivor Series. I like Rumble. And I thoroughly enjoyed this. It gave me a father whipping a boy's son. All right, so top 3, and then I'm going to leave it to Andrew. I'm sorry, I'm 10 minutes over, but I'm trying what I can. Ray and Dom, number 1. Number 2, International Triple Beef Patty. Number 3, it's kind of a tie between Usos and Sammy, and then Charlotte and Rhea. The Charlotte-Rhea match went a little bit too long, about 5-10 minutes more, but it was actually a physical contest, like a Joshi-style fighting. But the Sammy, what it lacked in the wrestling of the Sammy Bloodline match, it had that story. But I was thoroughly satisfied, and I hate you, Vince McMahon. Andrew, How was your experience watching WrestleMania?
Yeah. Well, I didn't get the full 8-hour experience that you did. But I mean, from the matches that I did see, I mean, you got to admit that international beef patty one. That was fun just watching them just slapping the shit out of each other. It wasn't
Okay, so it got a little weird there, but we're back.
What
Okay.
did we say? It can't be sports goofs without the goofing.
Yeah, but we're back. I see us on Twitch. So Andrew was in the middle of his experience with WrestleMania.
um, yeah, at points during the intercontinental title match, I was just laughing because it was just the pure absurdity of they just, you know, I slap you. Oh yeah, well I'll slap you. Oh yeah,
My
well I'll slap you. Oh yeah, well
my
I'll slap you.
my opener does say being the holy hell of each other, does it not? And that's what those
Exactly. In
movies
this case,
did.
they were actually doing that. Then the Zayn the Owens Zayn Usos match. I got to admit they were selling those near falls very well. Um, you know, get the sense that sometimes you might see like a muscle twitch or two to give it away a little bit early. That they're going to raise up their arm, but nah, they were good at keeping their arms down until like basically the last second. They did a very good job with that. It had good swings of momentum. I mentioned this in the chat, but um, in that sequence where Sammy pulls up Jay, you kind of, aside from the fact from like you mentioned that it was a, oh, this is how it is. I forgot how you described it exactly. Um, but I also kind of got the feeling that it was almost like Sammy was taking pity. It was like, you poor bastard.
See, I
You
thought he was
know,
like, I'm a wreck it.
and I guess that's good acting on his part. Is you couldn't tell, was he thinking this? It was like one of those paintings.
Mhm.
Is it a duck or is it a rabbit? It depends on who you are. Is it a sense of, oh, you're about to get it, or is it a sense of, you know I'm sorry this has to happen, and a look of, I don't have the word for it, like,
Pity, pity.
yeah, pity, yeah, that's a good word for it, look of pity. um so And then the main event match, you know, I forget how much wrestling can really get into my emotions. You know, that's kind of why I had to swear it off when I was a lot younger. It's got me a little bit too heated when certain things happened or didn't happen. You saw the effect of that.
I loved it
the other night.
It was great.
Because
I can't wait to play Splatoon with you and then do the Roman GIF. It's gonna be great.
So yeah, again, that was another one. A lot of good near falls. I gotta say, I'm impressed that the referee actually kicked out Solo at one point. Makes referees not look like total idiots. And yes, I know it's part of the act, but sometimes it's like, sometimes the referees is like, oh, come on, you dingus, you can't be that dense. But for once at least, it seemed like, okay, that's a normal reaction that a referee would have. It lent a little bit of credibility, realism to the match, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To the point, I could even forgive, the missing the whole thing at the end, where Solo gives him a karate chop to the neck. But again, that's a realistic miss in terms of the world of WWE. But some of the times it's like, I gotta be fucking kidding. It's one thing to suspend disbelief a bit for the sake of wrestling. Like, you have to suspend a lot of disbelief to watch Home Alone. But it does it well, so you're not thinking about having to suspend disbelief. But when they're doing it so blatantly bad that starts to take away from things, that's kind of what is a drawback for me with the stupid referee things. So the fact that they actually had the referee do something smart for once was actually kind of a plus for me on the match. For God's sake, I hope somebody beats Roman. I don't want it to go on much longer. It's getting boring. I guess that's the extent of my review, I guess. It's not as in-depth as yours, I will fully admit.
Say my closing line. Andrew forgot my closing line. That's all I got for you on the week.
I was about to do it, but yeah.
167 episodes.
All right.
Your ADD.
Well, that's it. That's it for us, guys. It's been long, but it's been good. So we'll see you guys next week for, gosh, what is it next week? Playoff endings or whatever, the seedings and stuff for NBA, NHL, and then I dropped my phone, and more baseball. So, all right, bye.
I love you, Gunther.
Got a minute? How about all weekend? I'm a Miami hotel. I'm looking for a passionate lover of Art Deco elegance and good times. Someone who likes it hot but knows how to keep their cool. This is you? Find me at Hotels.com.
But he turned it over to Cousins. Here's Cousins in the slot. Saved by Lyon. And now Montour controls. 2 minutes to go. That Vlad will give it back.